The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Good morning. Officials suggesting that tourists on jet skis should wear body cams. National Security Minister Wayne Monroe says the Americans are pressing the government to act on jet ski safety. The latest on the death of an American visitor found on a beach on Paradise Island. And we're talking food, and with Easter on the way, a great discussion with Chef Simeon Hall Jr. That's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Friday, April 11th, 2025. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Farrell Goff will be joining us. Also this morning, our Safe and Sound series in Morning Blend Business. We're talking untrained security equals unprepared plus unsafe workplace. We'll get into that with Gamal Nuri from Preventative Measures. That's all ahead on this Friday, but first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning.
It's a new day.
In the overnight, after the U.S. Embassy in Nassau warned tourists to avoid jet ski operators due to reports of rape, National Security Minister Wayne Monroe says that police are considering mandating that tourists wear body cameras when renting jet skis. Monroe saying yesterday that it's their view and the police's view that requiring body-worn cameras to be attached to the life vest when renting jet skis would seek to mitigate some of the issues. He said, quote, most people commit sexual offenses in private when they talk about taking you to the islands. So if you have a live camera on it, then you're never alone. In a security alert, the embassy said that Nassau jet ski operators have raped and sexually assaulted U.S. citizen women. It said 2 American women reported rapes in the past month and that 3 rapes were reported in 2024. Monroe says that he and the U.S. Embassy Chargé d'Affaires Kimberly Furnish recently spoke about centralizing renting for jet skis. He says that he's been in communication with the police as a response to this, saying that the view is that centralized renting would be an approach to address the issues. He said at the Coconut 360 Festival in Rawson Square, the U.S. Chargé asked, why can't everything be rented from a stall? You can read more about it in today's Nassau Guardian. When a 5-year-old boy kissed his father on the lips for the first time, his parents learned that a family friend had molested him. A Supreme Court jury hearing this yesterday. The alleged victim, now 9, said his mother asked why he had kissed his father, alleging that the This was what a family friend known as Pepe did to him. The fourth grader was the first witness to testify in Jose Thompson's case, also known as Pepe. You recall that Pepe, a friend of his mother, had picked him up from preschool on 3 consecutive days in November 2020. The boy said that Pepe took him to his home. He alleged that while there, Pepe touched and kissed him on his privates. More on that story in today's Nassau Guardian. A man accused of killing his infant daughter cleared of the charge Wednesday after a judge directed a jury to acquit him. Blunard Vedrine was tried for manslaughter in September 6, 2013 death of 5-month-old Berlindia Vedrine. The infant was pronounced dead at the Gregorytown Lutheran Clinic, and the autopsy showed that she died from blunt force trauma to the head. The autopsy also revealed that the baby's ribs had been broken several weeks before her death. Trial Judge Dale Fitzpatrick upheld a no-case submission by defense lawyer Mario Ducille after the prosecution closed their case. And after social media concerns over conditions at the children's ward at the Princess Margaret Hospital, the Public Hospitals Authority saying repairs are underway to improve the situation. In a social media post that was widely shared earlier this week, Kava Kemp described having to leave her son at PMH as one of the hardest, most infuriating moments of her life. She noted there was no working air conditioning for more than a year and also no hot water on the children's ward, calling the situation a disgrace. In response, the PHA said it acknowledged and understood the concerns regarding the air conditioning challenges and the hot water supply. The statement says that they were awaiting the arrival of specialized tools required to complete repairs to the boiler system on the legacy side of the hospital, and that interim measures, including the procurement and installation of individual water heaters in patient care areas, were being implemented to support patient comfort and care. It also noted that work on the air conditioning system is underway, with the installation of essential components in progress. Overseas, Britain today announcing a surge of military support to Ukraine as the war-ravaged country's Western backers gathered to drum up more weapons and ammunition to fight off Russia's invasion, and a U.S. envoy flew to St. Petersburg amid ongoing ceasefire efforts. Britain says that in a joint effort with Norway, just over $580 million would be spent to provide hundreds of thousands of military drones, radar systems, and anti-tank mines, as well as repair and maintenance contracts to keep Ukraine armored and their armored vehicles on the battlefield. A Kremlin spokesman saying that Trump's envoy Steve Witkoff was back in Russia today but didn't confirm whether he will meet with Putin. Witkoff, who has been pressing the Kremlin to accept a truce, met with Putin envoy Kirill Dmitriev in St. Petersburg. On the eve of the meeting of Ukraine's Western backers at NATO headquarters in Brussels, the Ukrainian defense minister said a key issue was strengthening his country's air defenses. President Volodymyr Zelensky has renewed his appeals for more Patriot systems since 20 people were killed a week ago, including 9 children, when a Russian missile tore through an apartment building and blasted a playground in his hometown. A merengue icon, a baseball star, and others killed when a cement roof collapsed at a popular nightclub in the Dominican Republic, buried Thursday as authorities called off the search for bodies, with the death toll now at 221. Mourners clad in black and white streamed into Santo Domingo's National Theater, where the body of singer Ruby Perez lay inside a closed coffin. Perez had been performing on stage at the packed Jet Set Club early Tuesday when dust began falling from the ceiling, and seconds later the roof caved. President Luis Abinader and First Lady Raquel Arbaje arriving at the theater and stood beside Perez's coffin for several minutes. Some mourners doubled over in tears as a recording of Perez's singing the national anthem played. Renowned Dominican musician Juan Luis Guerrero was among those gathered to pay respects. In sports, from the NBA, John Morant getting in trouble again for aiming an imaginary gun to celebrate three-pointers. So he's gone to a different make-believe violent way to mark a long-distance shot. The Memphis Grizzlies' leading scorer, who was fined $75,000 recently for mimicking pointing a long gun after a basket from outside the arc. He acted like he was pulling a pin and tossing a grenade in Thursday night's 141-125 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Morant, who was 5 of 13 from three-point range, in some cases even covered his ears after the windmill-like hurl of the invisible explosive. Morant said after Thursday's shoot-around, quote, "That's my celebration now until someone else has a problem with it, and I'll find another one." The league handed down the $75,000 fine on April 4th after Morant twice made what was considered an inappropriate imaginary gun aiming gesture on the court. He was previously warned by the league office that his gesture could be interpreted in a negative light. Well, in that game, Anthony Edwards scored 44 points, including 18 during Minnesota's franchise record 52-point third quarter, and the Timberwolves beat the Memphis Grizzlies 141-125 in a game between teams of fighting to avoid the play-in tournament. Julius Randle added 31 points and 10 rebounds for the Wolves, who broke open the game with the highest scoring quarter in the NBA this season. Edwards was 5 for 5 in the third, and Randle scored 14 points as Minnesota made 18 of 21 shots. Naz Reid finished with 14 points as Minnesota won its sixth in the last 7 games and joined the Golden State Warriors and Grizzlies tied in the 6th through 8th spots in the Western Conference at 47 and 33. And Giannis Antetokounmpo had 28 points and 11 rebounds as the Milwaukee Bucks extended their winning streak to 6 games with a 136-111 victory over the New Orleans Pelicans on Thursday night. Kevin Porter Jr. had 20 points and 7 assists. Kyle Kuzma and Gary Trent Jr. each scored 17 points. Bobby Portis added 14, and Ryan Rollins finished with 12 for the Bucks. Milwaukee moves on to an important 2-game regular season-ending series against the Detroit Pistons on Friday and Sunday. And from Major League Baseball, Marcell Ozuna hitting a 2-run homer in the 11th inning, and the Atlanta Braves beat the Philadelphia Phillies 4-2 early this morning in a game that ended at 12:53 a.m. after a rain delay of 2 hours, 45 minutes in the 6th inning. In the 11th, Austin Riley tied it by doubling home Ozzie Albies before Ozuna lifted his second home run of the season to left field in a near-empty Truist Park. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. This first look at weather brought to you by Star General. We've got a stalled frontal boundary that's meandering across the southeast Bahamas as a weak surface high and dry air mass dominate the weather across the rest of the country today. Expect the development of afternoon showers and thunderstorms, mainly for the southern Bahamas, as another cold front moves across the southeastern U.S. and approaches the northern Bahamas later today through tonight. So a relatively dry cold front and continental air mass is going to move across the area through Saturday, eventually merging with that front that stalled over the southeast Bahamas. That should happen by early Sunday. High pressure is going to build across the country for the remainder of the weekend and will dominate through early next week. Showers and thunderstorms likely to move east of the southern islands by late Sunday. And then another front is anticipated to move and stall across the Bahamas beginning midweek next week, with little fanfare, but that's going to keep temperatures relatively stable and comfortable for at least a little while. So for today, though, showers and thunderstorms. There is an increased risk of showers and thunderstorms across the southeast Bahamas this afternoon. There is a threat of localized flooding and potentially heavy downpours for the southeastern islands, especially Inagua and Mayaguana. And residents should exercise caution in low-lying and flood-prone areas. Beachgoers and small craft operators are advised that there is a likelihood of waterspouts near shore in the southeast Bahamas, and there's an elevated risk of rip currents for all Atlantic beaches in the northern Bahamas as well. For today, your forecast calls for partly sunny to sunny conditions today for the northern and northwest Bahamas, turning partly cloudy tonight. Less than a 10% chance of showers today. A 10 to 20% chance of light showers by tonight. Winds north to northeast at 10 knots or less, falling light and variable by this afternoon. Expect winds to shift southwest to west at 15 to 20 knots by late tonight, ahead of the front for the extreme northern islands. For the central and southeast Bahamas, the central islands sunny today, turning mostly fair tonight. Also a less than 10% chance of showers. Winds north-northwest to north-northeast at 10 knots or less, falling light and variable at times. For the southeast Bahamas, though you're still dealing with that frontal boundary, partly cloudy with occasionally cloudy periods today, especially across Mayaguana and Inagua. A 20 to 30% chance of showers with the possibility of afternoon thunderstorms. Wind south to southeast at 10 to 15 knots ahead of the front, shifting north to northeast at 10 knots or less behind the front. Temperature-wise, for most of the country, we're looking at highs around 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 65, 66 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. For the southeast Bahamas, a bit different, warmer as that front moves through, 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 72 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook for your weekend and for the start of the new week, Holy Week, when we get back, or a little bit later. This weather check brought to you by Star General, insurance made simple.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way.
You are listening to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. It's time for a break, but when we get back, we're discussing the day's top stories. Right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Wake up, it's a new day.
Do you have uncontrollable debt? Are you ready to make that move to Fidelity for a stress-free future? These loans have a built-in savings plan that pays you unbeatable interest. Ask about our debt consolidation loans today. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
Looking to elevate your gadget game, or are tech troubles simply slowing you down? Escape to a world of innovation at Custom Computers, your go-to store for the latest cutting-edge tech. Whether you need to upgrade your life with the best from Apple and Windows, or your device needs a little TLC, the Custom Computers Know-How Store is the destination for unbeatable expertise and quality repairs. With 2 convenient locations, there's a Custom Computers near you on Patton Street in Palmdale and Caves Village, or call 396-1100.
Southwest Plaza has so many stores, I've been trying to find a sensible way to list them all. There's CBS Bahamas, the Ashai Institute, BENC Snack World, Bamboo Shack Bahamas, Air, the Athlete's Foot, and BTC, Games and more, John Bull Fine Threads, Alive, Bahari, Dairy Queen, 700 Wines and Spirits, Sandy's Clocks and Island Lock, Starbucks and Lowe's Pharmacy, plus Marco's Pizza and Lorraine. Southwest Plaza, what a wide array of stores. Southwest Plaza, stop by today and explore.
It's time to upgrade the way you enjoy at-home entertainment. Alive Fiber is here. Enjoy all your favorite channels and streaming apps, all at lightning-fast internet speeds with affordable bundles, and it's only a click away. Visit www.alivefiber.com to sign up now. Stay connected, live your life. It's good to be alive.
Doctors Hospital Specialist Clinic is where trusted and best care meets consistency and dedication. Let our expert specialists take you on a healthcare journey where warmth, compassion, and your well-being come first. From diagnosis to prescription, we are with you every step of the way, ensuring your peace of mind. Visit us today at Centerville Medical Center, Collins Avenue and 6th Terrace, and discover quality, compassionate healthcare at Doctors Hospital Specialist Clinic.
Celebrate life with family and friends this Easter at Nassau Cruise Port. Join us for a special Easter Tings brunch on Sunday, April the 13th from 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. For $50 for adults and $25 for kids, enjoy delicious pancakes, waffles, mimosas, and more. Bring the little ones to jump around at the kitty corner. Plus, you can shop till you drop in stores like Bahari, House of Assembly, Vida Kaya with exclusive discounts, a spring fashion show, and exciting contests on Sunday, April the 13th from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Visit Facebook for details.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. Don't you know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas, Channel 969, and BTC Flow, Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. Standard text rates apply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Farrell Goff. Farrell Goff.
Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Bahamas.
Good to see you as always.
Always a pleasure to be here.
All right, we got a lot to talk about this morning. Our guests, though, we're scheduled to have Chef Simeon Hall Jr., the Emmy Award-winning chef, is going to be here. We're talking about a couple interesting things. Easter's coming up, so that's really fast.
You had to schedule something to do with food when I'm on, Dwight. It's my weakness.
Yeah.
I love.
Well, it's going to be rough. I don't think he's bringing any food, so at least you have that. But we're going to be talking about Easter, but also an interesting question: has the culinary world forgotten the Bahamas? Did they ever know the Bahamas?
The overall culinary
world?
Like the
are
globe,
we on the radar? Are we on the radar?
Culinary world?
And should the culinary world be paying attention?
I was going to say, you kind of got to forge your way generally in this world, right? I don't think you wait for people to come knocking at your door, really.
Oh, boy. So how do you do that? We're going to talk to Chef Simeon Hall Jr. about that this morning.
Great question, though.
Yeah. Later in business, it's our Safe and Sound series, and today we're talking about, this is interesting, untrained security equals unprepared and unsafe workplace. That sounds like a whole lot of places, right? Or is it? Maybe it's not. Maybe there are things we don't know. We're going to talk about all of that with Kamal Nuri
sometimes
today.
you walk into a place and you're like,
In some places, the security guards they're running the place.
That's another story.
Like, what's that about?
There's store manager.
Office manager, right? The vice president. I don't know. But we'll get into all of that with Kamal Nuri this morning. So an interesting Friday ahead. Let's begin, though, with what else is in the news. And in the news, it is such a wild, some would say wacky concept that both papers have a similar headline, the Nassau Guardian and the Tribune as well. Let tourists on jet skis wear body cams. The other one says, have visitors wear cameras, say police. What now? Wayne Monroe, National Security Minister, says that as the Americans have been pressing the Bahamian government to act on jet ski safety, this is one of the proposals they have to deal with reports of rape and other violence.
That's a big step. That is a big, big step.
It's kind of wacky,
too,
though. No?
Well, we've seen certain instances in America where body cams have become the norm because of an abundance of complaints and other things that may happen, quote unquote,
on the officials, though.
In the dark. Yes, on the officials.
Right. So, I mean, should all customers and clients and should all citizens be walking around in body cams so that people can see what they did to me?
A lot of folks have those dash cams and stuff now in their cars, and that's what.
Maybe we should all get some body cams.
It is definitely an uncomfortable situation for a customer, I imagine, and it's just not something we think they would think about when they with the Bahamas as this fun, generally safe, like free-spirited destination to visit. It's just it kind of goes against all of that. It's just.
Let's hear from him directly. And then we can also explore this article in today's NASA Guardian, some things in here that we really need to talk about. But let's begin with this report from our Avonik Toot.
One day after the U.S. Embassy in Nassau advised U.S. citizens of the risks of renting jet skis in the Bahamas, National Security Minister Wayne Monroe says he hopes to see the implementation of body cameras for tourists riding jet skis sooner rather than later. In a security alert issued on Wednesday, the embassy said Nassau jet ski operators have raped and sexually assaulted American women, with 2 American women reporting rapes in the past month and 3 rapes reported in 2024.
It is our view, and the police's view that I support, that requiring body-worn cameras to be attached to the life vest when you rent a jet ski would seek to mitigate some of the issues, both issues spoken to in the advisory. One, most people commit sexual offenses in private when they talk about taking to the island. So if you have live camera on it, then you're never alone. And the body-worn 4 cameras actually permit you to communicate to a base. So if you get injured, you can call for help.
According to the security alert, the victims allege they were raped and assaulted on isolated islands near New Providence. Monroe expressed optimism that a live cam would serve as a deterrent.
That has quick coordination from tourism, transport, who licensed the jet skis to put this into regulation. And I'm hopeful that that's going to move forward sooner rather than later. While one doesn't jump to a conclusion about innocence or guilt, the U.S. Embassy will warn its citizens based on what it sees to be credible threats. And so we have to move to minimize those threats.
Police have proposed that the cams would be worn by the person renting the jet ski.
Because we were told that these are rogue renters who aren't licensed by the port. Centralized renting, and the renter would wear it. And a tourism product would be, at the end of it, you should be able to download and get a video of your ride that you could share with friends, put on your social media content. But we have to take away the secrecy in which sexual offenses are committed. Most people do not commit them in the open. And so anywhere that you shine a light will limit or seek to discourage it. As I say, I'm hopeful. I think the police side is a very good one, and I hope that it can be implemented.
Monroe added another proposal is centralized jet ski rentals.
There have been these complaints. The police have charged a number of persons. So being a tourist destination as we are, we have to make a step in safeguarding not only the industry, but more importantly, those citizens from the Bahamas and other countries who come here. In response to this, I've been in communication with the police. We're of the view that centralized renting would be an approach to it. In fact, at Coconuts Research Square, the U.S. Charge asked why can't they be rented from a little store like we did for the coconut vendors.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Avonik Toot.
Okay, that last part, we'll get to that in a bit. But the thing about you'd get a video that you could download and show to your friends.
Isn't that all the rage now?
Well, that's
You
kind
get
of
2 for 1.
kind of cute, I guess. Oh boy. Or you. Anyway, okay. Anyway, so you heard that last part there. So in the article in today's National Guardian as well, our Latanya Roberts writing about this, saying Monroe said that he and U.S. Chargé d'Affaires Kimberly Furnish recently spoke about centralizing renting for jet skis. Monroe saying, quote, I have been in communication with the police where the view is that centralized renting would be an approach to it. At the Coconut 360 Festival in Ralston Square, the U.S. Chargé asked why can't they be rented from a stall like we did for the coconut vendors. When asked who would wear the cameras, we heard that already, that would be the jet ski renter, not the operator. As he says, this is an issue with rogue renters.
I mean, it is a severe issue, Dwight, one that can, if not already, can have some severe implications on tourism, in the country. So I get it. Something drastic has to be done. Otherwise, the pressure won't stop. It's only going to intensify.
But here's the thing. So the last time when Monroe was on the show, we talked about the need for more body cams. And he said if people wanted to make donations because they don't have enough. So who was supposed to fund this?
Yeah, that's. I thought about it as well. Right. I don't think you can push that expense on the jet ski operators. No. Their profit margin may not be as high as we think already. So here it is now. They have to purchase this technology across the board for every single renter. That is very costly.
Yeah.
But something has to be done. Maybe the government will find some emergency fund that they can front it. But they have to. There has to be a response. There has to be some major response to this ongoing threat that has been lingering for a very long time, actually. I mean, this is reoccurring.
Or can the police step up patrols in the areas where jet skis are rented and keep checking and enforcing the rules? Is that also not a possibility?
The centralized renting is something to think about, Dwight, in terms of a long-term, more responsible plan, I believe. Now, it's very difficult. It's the same thing like kind of centralizing the jitney service. It's not easy. It's a lot of folks make their living off of these industries, particularly the jet ski industry, to come together, centralize it, organize it, structure it, and it's through one entity or a government entity. That can take years, and the complication and logistics around that. So, but something has to be done now. There has to be a response. So I guess the body cams will, in theory, it should ease some of the fears, provide a great deal more transparency, more accountability for the guys out there who are renting, right? Because they know there's another layer of eyes and ears now. So, but again, it's an uncomfortable solution.
Let's get your reaction to it, folks. Give us a call, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Call us toll free, 242-300-5720. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Let's go to the phone lines. We've got a lot of your text messages as well. We'll get to those in just a bit. But caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Cousin Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well. Good morning.
And good morning, Commander Goff.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Wonderful nonsense. A bunch of nonsense. You understand? First of all, I don't know how well body cams go with water. That's another thing. Second of all, when you wear body cams...
You could get the special GoPro type ones, right? Yeah, the waterproof ones.
Listen, okay, your body cam lens full of water then splash on
it.
But
that does add to the expense, right? That's going to make them...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Second of all, when you wear a body cam, your body cam is looking forward. You understand? I don't think the jet ski, whoever wearing them, could be deliberately looking or staring in the other person's face, especially if think like dogs. You understand me?
What?
Whatever they do. What they need to do... What they need to do is find out why these jet ski operators carry these tourists to these little keys. That's because they go over there to smoke. They want smoke. And second of all, what they need to do is just zone where the jet skis, since you're in transportation business, educate those jet ski operators with some modified version of a Bahamas course. Teach them about foreign women and the them little skimpy things what they just be wearing.
Well,
And
all women, because the Bahamian women have complained as well.
Would they be wearing? I mean, what's
Well,
the issue with tourists who are trying to enjoy themselves on the beach?
Bikini.
See, no.
Well, that's a different issue now. That one there run pretty deep. I mean, it's decent.
Well, okay, fine. That one might be a little way out, but then all they have to do to mitigate against that is zone the jet skis. You put certain markers where the jet skis cannot go beyond. As simple as that. They cannot, since they cater into Bahamian women and tourists and sometimes novice people on those skis, you zone it.
So what if someone goes beyond that point?
Well, then that is where the police come in. Police can be on jet skis and little boats in those high tourist areas, That is where wardens come in. We need wardens.
Okay.
Man.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I hear you. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, Dwight. Mr. Goff, how y'all doing?
Doing well.
Good morning.
Okay,
Thank you.
With the jet ski, with the body cam, I think it's a kind of a good idea. It's better than nothing. It's better than all the accused and stuff like that. It should be a body cam on the vest, like they say. What never supposed to take off until the ride reach. The alleged rape. They're not saying it happening right there on the beach in front of everybody. Secluded islands off the main island and stuff like that. So the body cam's supposed to stay on until then. The course should be either the government through the port would be in charge of them what they're doing around the beach, or tourism, you can use it, and the government take it, or the tourists, because it's all about safety. It shouldn't be the jet ski operators, I guess, who would deal with that. Dwight, this morning, when you started the news, you were starting talking about a little bit of sports how the guys do the gun trigger, and like he pull a pin or the explosive or something, holding the ears and all that. It make me laugh. I say, maybe he used to do that before he reached the NBA. But what didn't make me laugh, Dwight? And I think I hope when I misunderstand what you say, I didn't hear you say somebody was acquitted with a little child, where you said the doctor say she died from blunt force trauma and her ribs was broken.
Yes.
Break. My point is that even if the person who was charged with it, if they innocent and the courts didn't get enough evidence to bring them guilty, right? See, the baby ain't do it to herself. Who do that? How come we ain't putting our time in when these kind of things happen? I don't know how long. It must be from you sound like you say 2017 or
2013. 2013.
13?
Mm-hmm.
And the case just finished, Dred. The case just finished. And nobody charged. You think nobody around there? I mean, I don't know how the whole case is. And thanks for how you always go back and bring things back for us to understand. But that's sad, but Dwight. That ain't right, but somebody should have been wholly responsible. We need to make example of these people who's be hurting little children, man, abusing them and killing them too, not just beating them like dogs, but killing them. Yeah. Somebody should have been wholly responsible. That's sickening. When I hear that, I say, but Dwight didn't say that just now, but I want us to be hearing people hear that. That's sad. You all keep up the good work.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, very sad. All right, we got some of your messages here. You can continue to call in, though. This person says here, at this point, I think our jet ski operators want to be accused for rape. If it were me, those women would never go alone with me. I'm bringing the whole news team, a policeman, my third grade teacher, and my current priest along with us.
Yeah, also, too, something like this, Dwight, it's easy to generalize and use blanket statements, but the truth and the facts are, it's a small amount of jet ski operators who are doing this. Right? I mean, of course, I'm sure there's some that value what they do and they understand the importance of the industry, and they would not try to jeopardize it with these type of heinous acts.
Yeah.
So, but you do have some bad apples out there, and they are causing major disruption right now.
Absolutely. This person says here, so tourist lives matter. What about what happened to body cams on the police to protect citizens? All lives matter, right? That's in text there. He's suggesting that you make sure you have your phones charged and keep them ready to record at any moment for your regular encounters here.
Although that could only bring more harm to you because it agitates the person in authority.
Boy, I tell you.
When you shine that light in their face and say, you can record what? Give me that.
So this is what people are going to say, right? I mean, so why are we encouraging these double standards?
I don't. Is it double standards, Dwight? I mean, there's multiple things can happen at the same time. This is a lot of pressure is being put on this right now, and something has to be done, right? And also, they could tie it to like overall safety. It doesn't have to just be like the prevent rape new life vest with the body cam. Like it can also just be for general safety. We've had some accidents, and we need to know where you are at all times. It's a big, wide open ocean. Currents can take you here and there, and also for the safety for your threat of someone else as well. I'm just saying it. I when you think about it, the way it's crafted right now and the narrative is, kind of jarring. But I can see it being packaged well.
That's fine, but I mean, well, at least if you're going to start talking like this, we'll encourage everybody to, whenever you have an encounter with a police officer or any authority figure, we welcome you. We encourage you to record so that we can all have true understanding of every event, and we will make sure that every officer has body cam and they can record as well. We're not hearing that kind of talk from them. We know we don't have access to the body cam footage. It only we've been told this current administration only wants that to be able to be used in a court matter.
Is that unusual?
It feels so.
I mean, is it with the public? We want from the public. We want to be able to log into the.
No, not like that. But I mean,
central.
Why do we have to wait for a court case in order to see what happened there? Right? We see in other jurisdictions that footage is made available to the media very quickly, and people can say, well, now I can breathe easy, or whoa, something has to be done.
Once the authorities have made that call, then they can release it too.
You seen any body cam footage here yet?
I've never.
Oh, okay. So what's that about?
Have you ever seen
No.
Never.
Not one time.
I didn't. I'll be honest with you.
We've heard about it in a court case.
Maybe I've been out of the loop, but
you haven't.
I didn't even realize that they were actually being used currently, actively. I did not realize.
I don't know how widespread.
I knew there was conversation about it, maybe a few years ago, but
we don't know how many. We don't know how widespread. They say they need more, but we haven't seen it. I know that they are using it in court cases. Nah, so that's concerning.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take this call. Good morning. You're on the air.
Dwight, good morning, Farrell.
Hi.
Good morning.
Man, listen, it's a pleasure to hear the original crew of Morning Blend.
Almost
together
original.
again.
Close to original.
You started
because, boy, you brought back memories, Farrell.
Thank you.
You brought back memories. In relation to the matter with this body cam situation, the first thing that came to my mind with these allegations, and, not trying to downplay anything or whatever. I just feel the onus of any complaint initially should be if it don't even have to be against to our nation. It could be even one of the locals on a jet ski. Would they have made that complaint also to the owners of the jet ski upon coming back on land? And then advance it to the police as well as a backup. The owners of these things is actually on the owners of these jet skis, and the companies. They need to vet their people properly because, you see, when you make an allegation against...
I think they do call it. I think there is a board or something they have to be registered and vetted. I do believe. That's currently on... the ones that are regulated. I mean, if you have someone, a rogue operator, now that's a different story.
Yes, exactly, and this is why I said the onus then is on the owners of the jet skis. Who, in other words, the persons who are in control of their jet skis. The onus is on the owner of that jet ski to ensure that the persons who they have riding their jet ski or representing their company, they should be held responsible for anything that happens to any. At least, like I said, at this stage, it's just an allegation. Because now you have to prove that this thing actually occurred to hold the person responsible. We've heard of many instances where persons are also falsely accused. And I think that is the thin line through this whole thing. But I am one of those proponents who believe in body cams. I'm one of those proponents who believe in security. I'm one of those proponents who believe that a person, although is innocent until proven guilty in many cases. Up front, you can solve a lot of these things with the actual footage. And Dwight, you're absolutely correct. In many jurisdictions, especially if you watch American news, a lot of the footage of many things that happen within the precincts of the city, the country, or whatever, and there's video footage from an official source, that source should come public. You know, it helps the public to relax a little better, to know that these things are working, these things are in play. We do have evidence to support the claims when it's even a counterclaim, but we do have sufficient evidence to say, okay, well, we got this evidence, let the public take a look, and then, you know, we make that distinction of whether what they say happened.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
So this thing is not as clear cut as a lot of people would want to make it, but it could be clear cut whenever you have sufficient evidence, concrete evidence where the hand is caught in the cookie jar. Then we can move on from this point. That's all I want to say on this particular matter. But thanks for taking my call, and guys, continue the great work. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it. One more call, and we've got a whole lot of great messages to get to. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Strong. Good morning to Mr. Farrell. Go on.
Hi. Good morning.
For some reason, I always get Farrell name like I was taken from Matt Albury. Sounds so much alike.
Oh, boy. He's a nice guy.
Mr. Strong, this is a really quick, simple fix here, you know. And it can be done in a practical way and with not expensive, but for me, I see it. GNN made a suggestion. You know, that scenario could be true, but smoking weed, there's a lot of things going on ways of smoking weed. But the situation may be this, like scenarios allegedly that have happened. So if they ran over to remote island to smoke cannabis, right? But then automatically, as a ghetto youth, some of these guys are ghettoized in their mind. So, and the woman is wearing skimpy clothes. They automatically believe that's consent, and that's a barbarous way to think. So, what about just having simply just have a police officer there with some kind of little post office or an office or whatever little building, and you register that this person he's witnessing that this is the name of the person going with you, et cetera, or a transponder or whatever, but or cams. But what I'm saying is there was a text who texted yesterday, and they said something about it was politics, but they said into a line of nothingness. We need more texters like that to be texting, because when we see the disparity in the urgency to implement cameras for the tourists versus the citizens, and so maybe, you know, I don't want to make this joke, but I know you're not a criminal, but what I'm saying is you may be naive. You've heard me spoke about my encounters on the radio. So what I'm saying is it's kind of naive for you to suggest that, you know, people in the inner city know that what happens when you yuck with your cameras. So I've been saying for years on the radio, the police really don't want cameras. So maybe it's their excuse that it's expensive and they can't afford it. But that we can't accept it as citizens when the police are the minority and the public is the majority. So we will let the minority rule the majority. You know my new Facebook, WhatsApp profile is now, Dwight. You want me to tell you? You know what it is?
I'm afraid, but sure.
It's a sheep in the meadows wearing COVID-19 mask. That's what it is, you know, because that's what we are, Dwight. You know, we look at people, we talk about black men, we talk about everybody, but when are we going to come together and demand better politics, better policing? And so we know that they don't, because we have seen where they've taken people's cameras. So we would give them the rights to do that, but nothing is being done. I've been everything you think about has happened to me, okay? And if something happens, they have the ability to obfuscate and obscure justice. So we need them to wear cameras. It's simple. Yeah. It's either they want it or they don't want it. Bless up.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Wow.
Something else to be done. I think we do realize that.
All right. So some great messages here. This person says, so is anyone going to be doing live monitoring of the hundreds of body cams on these tourists? Footage stored on body cams could easily be removed or destroyed. Where did Monroe get this idea from? Trump? That last part there. But that's an interesting point.
Yeah, but we have, yes. I mean, now you're getting into the integrity of the system, right?
Yeah.
But we've seen it be very successful in the United States with certain things, right? And I mean, it's been pivotal in the outcome of certain allegations and investigations.
But again, that's always on the authority side.
On the authority side.
Sometimes the person's video can help.
Exactly, absolutely. Some of those dash cams, persons recording themselves, been other persons who bystanders recording an incident can sway the outcome.
But if you're on a deserted island and something happens, the person's right. You could something could really go wrong. But if it's stored, maybe it's stored externally somewhere else. I don't know.
But again, yeah, that's the integrity of the system. I'm thinking that something this severe and a drastic change like this, you would make sure that you have an ironclad overall, logistics and everything around that to support it, to ensure that there's trust and faith in it.
I could see that in the future, you'd have to be a millionaire to rent a jet ski. That's going to be something for only the rich. And this is where we're going. So the whole industry will be wiped out. Oh, boy. Okay, so more messages here. You have to give the minister points for thinking outside the box. Another great idea might be to attach body cams to the minister's suits during meetings with investors and contract negotiations. Just thought that's a great idea.
Is it though? I mean, is it?
Oh, wouldn't you love to hear what happens in the cabinet meetings? Oh, boy. Are there any policies to assure the safety of Bahamians, like mandatory flotation vests for all boaters? At least 2 recent cases of Bahamians lost at sea were in the news. Enforcement of these will be historic.
Also, personal responsibility is important in these situations as well, Dwight. I mean, if we're pretty lax when we go on boats, I guess, because we think we can swim. But that doesn't mitigate the need of a life vest if something happens and you have to be floating for a very long time.
Everything's too casual here. Yeah. Right? Make everybody put it on. Just make everybody put it on.
Yeah. It's not only a matter of make everybody put it on, Dwight, because that's using authority, opposed to people realizing that we have to be more responsible as
individuals. You do it on planes,
right?
You put on your seatbelt. They tell you have to fasten your seatbelt. So you have to, on this ferry ride across this channel to that other island, everybody has to put on their life vest. No questions asked. I don't care how good a swimmer you are. Just do it.
No, I do believe most are you talking about jet skiers?
Well, I mean, you see them with that on, right?
Yeah, of course.
But I'm talking about the person talking about other boats,
yeah, they're
right?
talking generally.
In general.
Generally,
And people just aren't doing that.
No, they don't. They don't.
Going on the boat in flip-flops.
Particularly Bahamians. I mean, a lot of tourists on these charters and that sort of stuff, you do see them vested up.
Yeah. This person says here, they could find body cam quick now, but our police are still not wearing them. Come on, Bahamians' lives matter too.
I don't think this solution points to Bahamian lives don't matter. We kind of have to be fair there. There's a lot of pressure in a particular area, and it warrants a major response. And this is, I get it. I mean, I'm not overly comfortable with the solution, but something has to be done. Something has to be done to bring about just different behavior from those bad apples in particular.
Yeah. So there's a good question here. This texter says, so why does the minister keep referring to rogue operators? Why are they allowed to exist? Is there no crackdown on them? What are they doing?
Do they live in the Bahamas? I mean, rogue?
See, that's not a good excuse. What?
No, I'm just saying that the most entities there are outside, quote unquote, outside operators of whatever industry you're talking about.
And everybody knows them.
And it's very difficult to make that go away completely.
Is it? Or they just don't have the will to do it? I think with a few more comments and side meetings from certain officials from other countries, you'd be very shocked how quickly these things could go away.
I'm sure they're trying.
They're trying?
Considerably organized a few years ago because of similar allegations.
Every few years we have an uprising in an uptick in these types of allegations. There's something done, and then it goes back to business as usual. Because we get lax and we're not enforcing it anymore. We're not patrolling, we're not checking.
I do believe there have been some positive developments in the jet ski industry over the last couple of years and trying to regulate the industry.
Okay.
But there's still work to be done. Absolutely.
And people know who needs to be worked on, and yet they're there and thriving probably. I don't know. This person says the cameras will pay for themselves. People do it all the time by paying for videos of excursions they have just experienced. Look at the business side to it. Okay, I hear you. My cousin was a jet ski operator, and quite often female tourists wanted free or complimentary rides. So what do these women expect when they want free rides? What now? There's no such thing as free lunch. Oh, my God. Of course, texter. This is from the texter that we have branded. We don't know who he is, but we call him misogyny. And, of course, that came from him. Are you serious right now? Huh? Wow.
I mean, some type of industry training and for all operators should be mandated. That's something that could help. An ongoing training.
Oh, boy. We can't get police to wear body cams, but we're pushing for jet ski customers to wear them. Like the caller said, we need police doing their jobs. More police watching the water and more police watching the road for these silly drivers. Yeah, okay. In light of all the rape allegations, National Security Minister Wayne Monroe suggests putting body cams on tourists who rent jet skis to protect them. Our police officers barely have body cams, and he's talking fool about tourists. Maybe if they took rape more seriously in this country, we would never have gotten to this point, where it seems like rape and murder is an everyday thing.
I don't think that's necessarily a fair comment. I do believe authorities take both murder and rape very seriously.
We hope so. Yeah. Here we go again. A woman is lie. Sex with a 14-year-old isn't rape because the 14-year-old wants it. What's happening here? Oh wait, okay, no. This is not what they believe. Okay. Statutory rape doesn't exist. These poor 50-year-olds being trapped by teenagers. Raping your wife is not possible because her body belongs to you. And now y'all wear the cameras to protect yourselves from these lying foreign women. It's after the fact. Why not police the operators? Something is clearly wrong with them. Yeah. Okay. So this is that kind of text there. Yeah. But yeah, you're making some great points. This is kind of almost in the family of victim blaming, right? But I mean, again, the part about having a video to show your friends, well, if it goes well, that's
which is the point,
right?
Which is the
if
entire
it goes
point,
well.
Dwight, that it goes well,
right? Like, don't you have a video? No,
no.
I can't show you that.
And your
video.
overall safety. We can sell it also as a tracking device in case something happens and your engine shuts down and you drift off or something. There's some way to find you. There's a way. I think there's a way to package that, but it's going to be very expensive.
This person says, "What about Braves whistles
from across the deserted island?"
Yeah, I don't think. Maybe there's some long range whistles.
Yeah. How's that work?
With technology today. See, Alan, let us know. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Are you there? Hi.
Hi.
Good morning.
Yeah.
You are live on the air. Oh, you're breaking up. Okay. Let's take the other call. Good morning. You're on the air. No. Okay. This person says yes. Okay. Let's take that one. Good morning, caller. You are live on the air.
Yes. Good morning, Dwight. Good morning, Farrell.
Good morning.
Yeah, man, Dwight, I was holding for almost 9 minutes, man. Dwight, let me congratulate you on your 14th year, on your 13th year, but in your 14th year, I have one thing against you.
Mm-hmm.
Clear the desk, man. Clear the phone call. I've been listening to you all for 8 minutes.
Oh, my.
That's 8 minutes of my minutes, man.
I'm so sorry.
So in
okay.
the 14th year, you could always read the text, but people aren't get postpaid, But anyhow, I just
We'll work
want
on
to
it.
say that those who are benefiting from the industry most should be the protectors of it. These individuals, they know who these rogue operators are, and they should report them and ensure that they don't tint their image because, like you say, one bad apple spoils the whole barrel. So those people who are operating in that industry, they need to protect their industry.
Okay, point. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And one final call, and then we'll just get to the messages. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, caller. You're live.
Dwight.
Hi.
Listen, you only hear one word with GNN say, hey, we could solve all this argument. All they have to do is make all of the keys off limits to jet skis. It's as simple as that, Dwight.
You know that's not simple. Where does that work?
Dwight,
make
it's off
a
limits.
place off limits. You think that stops anybody?
Then where they can go to rape the girls.
Now,
where they could carry them.
you are suggesting they put officers on those little keys and just have them there patrolling?
All they have to do is make a law today, go in Parliament, and say all keys are off limits to touristic when you're dealing with this thing with tourists. It's off limits.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It's against the law to break to run a red light, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh, okay. So,
and when you find a person running the red light, you know what you do with them? You give them something worthwhile for breaking the red light. Make the keys off limits during your high tourist hours. It's simple. You ain't need no body camera, no this and no that.
Yeah, it's just very difficult to police.
And then you know, police cough. If you have traffic laws that, like Dwight say, you can't run. The majority of people don't run no red lights, you know.
Yeah, but
they don't run it.
All right, so
but the flip side of the majority of people who run red lights, they're not caught. That's the truth. We see it all day. We see it all day.
But also, here's the big thing. So, yes, it seems this happens a lot, but this is not the majority of people's experiences. I would hope,
I agree.
right? So that you're going to be cutting off your nose to spite your face, right? There are tons of people who go to these little islands, have a great time, don't litter, don't rape, don't do anything, and have a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and will remember it forever. Do you need to deny them that opportunity because of this?
No, Dwight. People that go to the Keys go under different circumstances. They either go on a party boat or they go on rented boats and some jet skis. You and you on jet skis for half an hour. They just rent it out for half an hour. You make the Keys, since we have a problem, off limits to the jet skis.
Oh, so you're saying for the fancy rich people who have their own big boat and stuff, they will be able to go, but not people on jet skis.
Well, right, we're talking about a problem we have with jet ski operators that rent to tourists. So those fellas got their boats, they got different licenses, they could do stuff like that, but we talking about the jet skis now. Off limits during your working hours.
Okay. It's a better way to deal with it. Yeah. But I hear you. Thank you very much.
And the truth is, most folks who want to do bad things, they don't necessarily adhere to the laws. So that's just the truth. I mean, if their intent is to do something, they're going to do it.
Oh boy! All right, let's take the break. Yeah. Oh, you want to take this? We'll take this and then we'll go to the break. Caller, are you there?
Yeah. Good morning. First time caller.
Welcome. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, just weighing in on what I've been hearing. Sometimes, Dwight, I think if we're able to, I guess, erect signs. Number one, you could erect signs in these public spaces where the tourists rent a jet ski and talk about the sexual violence or sexual offenses a crime. If it happens to you, report it immediately. That kind of thing. In addition, we should hold the jet ski operators or the owners of these companies responsible when stuff is reported allegedly, even if you sideline them for a time. I mean, there is, like you say, there's some things that can be done, but do we have the will to do it? Because these things are happening over and over repeatedly. Mm-hmm. So I guess we should take a more, proactive approach in looking at issues like that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, so we got more of your text messages. We'll get to those after we get back from the break. This is Morning Blend on a Friday morning here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Till I'm in the casket you carry. If you go, I'm going too. 'Cause it was always you. And if I'm turning blue, please don't save me. Nothing left to lose without my baby. Birds of a feather, we should stick together.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
It is time for your first look at traffic for the morning, brought to you by RBC. Reaching your goals happen here. In your real-time traffic, we've got a number of hot spots to tell you about this morning. We've got Tonic Williams Darling Highway, some unusual heavy traffic between The roundabout at Blue Hill Road and Bahamas Games Boulevard. Backed up in both directions. Not sure what's going on there. Don't normally see that at this hour. So keep that in mind if you're in that part of the island. That might be an area you want to avoid at this hour, working to find out what's going on there. Over on Milo Butler Highway, it is busy as usual from Fire Trail, and especially as you approach Harold Pond up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway in the northbound lanes there. And we're seeing some slow-moving traffic on the New Providence Highway side, northbound to the Six-Legged Roundabout. Over on Gladstone Road, that might be a better alternate route for you compared to Milo Butler Highway. And it's slow-moving, but really only very, very, very slow once you get close to Munnings Road, north and northbound of that. You'll find that all the way up to John F. Kennedy Drive. Blue Hill Road is also busy for you from Carmichael straight up to Independence Drive and the roundabout if you're heading northbound. And Robinson Road between Soldier and Old Trail looking slow-moving westbound traffic for you there. Marathon both directions at this hour, north and southbound. And Eastern Road from Fox Hill to about Johnson Road, very slow-moving traffic there. That's your real-time traffic and your Morning Blend Traffic Alert brought to you by RBC. With RBC, your ideas happen here. We'll be back after these messages and the news on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Here's a price list of some of the roofing material we carry at Pinder Enterprises. 5/8 pressure-treated roofing ply starting at $36.68. Gray Select Water Shield, $134.20 a roll. Felt, 15 pounds, $16.50. 30 pound, $19.80. Owens, Corning Duration Shingles, and Certainty Landmark Shingles, $56.56 a bundle. Gallon of roof cement, $33.47. All sizes treated dimensional lumber. And of course, we have all nails and all screws. We have 5/8 sheetrock, $28.76. Half-inch sheetrock, $22.18. All prices include VAT.
Ricardo, my hair is almost done. Could you pick me up? I got my nails done too, so walk with a little extra money?
I'm almost there. Forgot the extra money, but you know, happy wife, happy life. Looks like the salon has first pay. QR code scanned, funds sent, paid.
For quick transfer with just an email, mobile number, or QR code, use First Pay from CIBC Caribbean. Visit CIBCCaribbean.com/ways to bank for more information.
What if I told you Wendy's has a new burger? With a flavor so secret, it's almost too delicious to handle. Well, now it's time to unlock that flavor. Try the new sweetener. We can't tell you everything, but we can tell you that it's packed with flavor, including our secret barbecue sauce. Try the new Sweet and Smoky Barbecue Cheeseburger today. Available for a limited time.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
As a healthcare professional, you dedicate your life to caring for others. But even with the best care, legal challenges can arise. Protect your practice and your peace of mind with medical malpractice insurance from Star General. At Star General, we've partnered with Lloyd's of London to bring you comprehensive professional liability insurance designed specifically for those consulting or practicing privately. Visit our website today so you can focus on what you do best, caring for your patients, while we take care of the rest. Star General, insurance made simple.
Now let me see now. 326 EPIC. Hello? This Epic battery. This Miss Beulah from round the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. It's about time. I live Fox Hill and Fire Trail. It's too far.
That ain't all. They open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker, and he could go right there and get fixed up.
Call us at 326 EPIC. We ship also to the Family Island.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.
I see it. My work is on the water, free diving, thrown out liners, it's how I survive. Listen, from foggy to yellowtail, from jackfish to killer whale, I jump in my dingy boat and I head on down the coast. I need a fish to bite, my kids gotta eat tonight, so I do what I gotta do, take some fish back for them to stew. I've been in the trade long, and I was very strong. By my father's side, he said, get fish boy to make your man. What you got a big line, son, you'll be fine. Just keep your eye out for them floating groupers passing by. I'm a boatman, a seaman. My work is on the water, free diving, throwing out liners, it's how I survive. Oh, come on. Yeah, let's go down the shore. Many weeks I out to sea, your wife is missing me. Yes, I miss
We are back with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Farrell Goff on this Friday morning. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to be talking with Chef Simeon Hall Jr. We've got a lot of exciting things to talk about with him. And then in business, our Safe and Sound series looking at untrained security equals unprepared and unsafe workplace. Boy, we're going to get into that. But we continue for a few minutes on our discussion. The big story of the day, the National Security Minister is saying that they're seriously considering this option of letting the visitors who are on jet skis, customers, wear body cams as a means of increasing jet ski safety. Interesting. So we've been getting your reaction to that all morning. So you keep hearing in these stories that the problem is the rogue elements, not the regular licensed jet ski operators, and that those folks follow the rules and follow a code of conduct. There's an article in the Guardian business section where a law-abiding jet ski operator is saying that what's happening is going to really penalize their sector and hurt the people who are following the rules. Our Yuri Kemp writing about that today. An established water sports company said that the U.S. Embassy alert on reported rapes by jet ski operators reinforces a misconception that penalizes law-abiding water sports operators. Director of Sales and Business Development for My Own Water Sports, Astronautage, told Guardian Business in an emailed statement that, quote, the recent security alert is issued by the U.S. Embassy in Nassau raises valid concerns regarding jet ski operations in the Bahamas. However, it inadvertently sustains a long-standing misconception that the jet ski industry as a whole is unregulated. This claim is simply untrue for many legitimate Bahamian businesses, including ours. The challenge does not lie in the existence of regulations, but rather in ensuring full compliance and effective enforcement. Regulation exists. The Bahamian government must implement and enforce the necessary measures to protect our visitors, Bahamian businesses, and the reputation of the Bahamas. She says that law-abiding businesses like ours will undoubtedly be penalized for the actions of the mostly unlicensed few, because this warning will undoubtedly affect our business. Now, Nottage is also saying that the water sports industry, particularly jet ski operations in New Providence, are subject to comprehensive regulation. Each year, we engage in several processes, often involving multiple government bodies, to ensure the necessary operating licenses, including but not limited to the Port Authority of the Bahamas, the Ministry of Tourism, the Department of Inland Revenue, the National Insurance Board. Additionally, we must procure liability insurance that meets the standards set by our global industry partners. Despite our compliance, there remains a persistent stigma surrounding jet ski operations. Alarmingly, the stigma is also present among those tasked with regulating and collaborating with us. Tourism regulators and local partners continue to perpetuate the misleading notion that jet ski operators are poorly regulated and that guests should avoid the activity. The stigma is evident in Paradise Island Tourism Development Association endorsed letters placed in various hotels, further fueling the misconception. Whoa, That's pretty serious. Just like in many other sectors, there are unlicensed and rogue individuals, but they do not represent the vast majority of responsible operators in the industry. We continue to encourage our tourism partners and regulators to join us in a collaborative effort to distinguish reputable operators from those who do not adhere to industry standards. She says that if a genuine lack of regulation exists, the Bahamian government and its regulatory agencies must take responsibility for addressing it. And I guess enforcing it
Absolutely.
as well, right?
Absolutely.
Because it sounds like there already are quite a few standards in place. Are the police enforcing this?
Yeah, and it's good to know. I mean, this is good information to get out into the public that it is a regulated industry with, I mean, it sounds like some pretty stringent requirements.
Yeah, we've been doing some research online during the and off air, and so they have to do Bahama host. We want to know if it's everybody or just the owners. Do all the guys take this course as well?
The word operator, what does that refer to, right? If the operator has to be licensed, the operator has to have this. The operator, is that everyone that's out there actually renting and working for the company, or is it just the license holder, that individual or that individual company, right?
And this is a challenge for bus operators as well.
Correct.
That's always been a concern.
It's a very important question.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So how many rogue operators are there? And what happens? And how do you know the difference, right? If you are renting from a rogue operator or renting from a licensed
I would love
one.
to hear from law enforcement as well. I mean, what have they done recently to address that? I mean, can they talk to stats and how much they've shut down, and then what is the process? Do you confiscate the jet skis? I mean, do you remove them from the possibility of just going from one beach to the next beach if you run them from this beach because they're not licensed?
Yeah. And so from what we're understanding, we're made to understand that there are only a few places where you will find these licensed and regulated operations. So we were told Goodman's Bay, Sandals, behind what was Malia, Paradise Island, East and West, and to some extent Western Esplanade. So I guess more education is needed as well. But how to identify a rogue operator from a legitimate one?
But I mean, it doesn't stop the rogue operators from also operating in those locations,
right?
Which
but
is
I'm sure the legitimate ones will carry on greatly when they see one of those. Oh boy! And again, so the onus is must be, I guess, on law enforcement. That means the police for the most part.
When something is reported, absolutely. And like I think a caller or texter said, they rely on the legitimate operators to report when this happens. The police cannot be everywhere all the time, right? But again, what happens when there is a report? Is it taken serious? Is it deprioritized? Is there some other more important things that take? We don't know.
Funerals.
We don't know.
Things. That's
well, I mean,
the priorities,
a lot of other,
right?
And a lot of other violations as well.
Lunch? Oh, yeah. Sure. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? No. Okay, let's take this one. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, you're tying a ball around.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, caller.
Hey, good morning, Dwight, and good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, man. Y'all make me feel like, but what? Say I was 6 years younger, man. Here in Faro on this radio.
Before I had to wear glasses,
Hey, Dwight. Here's what I'm getting from the situation, Dwight. Right? I don't know if y'all could remember back in the day when we used to have all them nightclubs over the hill, and then we start hearing these constant reports. Right, some of them was true, and some of them wasn't. Right, when about tourists going over the hill to take part of inside the nightclubs, right? And then what happened after that, right? All of them got closed down, and the nightclubs became in the hotels, right? And then we see the trend now where the hotels them are running people off the beaches, right? And the things what the people was doing on the beaches, the hotels them now doing on the beaches. So who is to say, right, that the hotels don't want to do jet ski? Because at the end of the day, the Bahamas government do not control tourism in the Bahamas. They only control the workers who work the tourism in the Bahamas, but they don't have these people here to make money. Our government's here to make sure that people get a job. right? So that's two different situations. So at the end of the day, if the people who own the tourism product, right, they know they have measures in order to get their way, so they can keep. Because you see, our government is none trying to put no legislation, no. I mean, some did, but it ain't really strong enough to really make a dent on what is being. I believe they are working together. Because at the end of the day, the two. I just believe Dwight and Farrow is that the hotels, they are interested in all inclusive, the all inclusive packages where you can have jet ski and what you call it, what they sell on the beaches, the umbrellas and they can put all of that in one and then the Bahamian people do have no reason to be no place around their facilities. That's what I see happening. And if we don't do something about it, I can guarantee you that's where we're going. But you guys have a nice day.
Okay. All right. Wow. That's a major claim there. And caller, final call here. Good morning. You're on the air. Hi, really quickly, caller. Hi.
Morning, Dwight. Morning, Farrow.
Good morning.
Dwight, one of the problems with these jet skis operators is maybe not enough enforcement. On any given day, you can ride by Monica Beach. You'll see 4 to 6 jet skis on the shore where the swimmers normally swim in that area. The police come another hour, they're right back there. And then the following day, the day after, they're right back. So what they probably need to do is just how they enforce these laws on the cars when, you're not out of license on shore and book them. And then if it occurs again, then you confiscate the vehicle, then they'll do better. Every day they break the law. You ride by Monica any day, you look on the shore there. Maybe they need to bring back the beach wardens, I think.
Interesting. Thank you very much.
Instituted.
Yeah, interesting point.
Thank you very much.
This texter here says, can the U.S. Embassy issue a warning against tourists riding jitneys? Because this is the fastest I've seen a government act in an unregulated industry. Well, again, it is regulated, but...
Again, that's the misconception.
Yeah. So can you imagine the pain you felt? Like if you're like astronautage in the story here, when the U.S. Embassy issues that blanket warning, don't do it at all, as opposed to making sure that you are dealing with a registered, licensed, regulated operator, and to be careful of the rogue ones. That is...
and if you follow the law to a T as an operator, and you continue to do so, right? I mean, it hugely threatens the industry.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they're already feeling it. I mean, I'm sure that these warnings don't help at all.
Yeah. Scary stuff there. All right, so I guess these the regulated ones need to speak up more. I mean, we'll see if we can get a few on the show to tell
I think
their
that would
story.
Be very helpful, Dwight,
to say what they're doing and how bad it really gets out there with the rogue operators.
Yeah. And the fact that it is a regulated industry, and speak a bit more to all of the requirements and the policies that they must adhere to. I think would very help to sensitize the public. And maybe even the greater public for, beyond our shores, for folks to understand that this is a structured, regulated industry.
Yeah. Oh boy, this is tough. This is a tough one. All right, we got to go to a break. When we come back, we're changing gears, talking food and the culinary world, and whether it's recognizing the brilliance, the greatness of Bahamian cuisine, and more. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
A ceiling. My work is on the water. Free diving to outline is how I survive.
Maybe it's time to explore your options. There's no harm in reviewing your mortgage arrangement and considering a better deal. CIBC Caribbean can help you narrow your search and decide. Switch your mortgage to CIBC Caribbean and enjoy a special interest rate and help towards your switching cost. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/inspired home for more information. Conditions apply.
most reliable and impactful printing services, look no further. Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life. We stand by our quality products that is second to none. Our affordable pricing and friendly, efficient staff makes Printmasters the ultimate choice for all your printing needs. We can deliver any type of printing services, from banners to booklets to business cards. You name it, we can print it.
Let Printmasters bring your masterpiece to life.
Located in the Nassau Guardian Building, telephone 302-2361.
Here's a price list of some of the roofing material we carry at Pinda Enterprises. 5/8 pressure-treated roofing ply starting at $36.68. Gray Select Water Shield, $134.20 a roll. Felt, 15 pounds, $16.50. 30 pound, $19.80. Owens, Corning Duration Shingles, and Certain Teed Landmark Shingles, $56.56 a bundle. Gallon of roof cement, $33.47. All sizes treated dimensional lumber. And of course, we have all nails and all screws. We have 5/8 sheetrock, $28.76. Half-inch sheetrock, $22.18. All prices include VAT.
Welcome to Beauty Boutique. It's 20% off cash purchases today.
This fits perfectly. So does this, but I don't have enough cash.
Are you a CIBC Caribbean client?
I sure am.
Well, just first pay me.
Now we're talking. Can I try these shoes too?
For quick transfer with just an email, mobile number, or QR code, use First Pay from CIBC Caribbean. Visit CIBCCaribbean.com/ways to bank for more information.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Planning for retirement can be overwhelming, but with CFAL, it doesn't have to be. We offer tailor-made individual, group, and pension solutions that take the guesswork out of retirement planning. Whether it's for you or your company, don't leave your future to chance and let the trusted hands of CFAL's experts guide you toward peace of mind and financial stability. Low upfront costs and affordable monthly payments make it easy for you to build wealth so you can live well. Visit us at cfal.com to start on your path toward financial freedom. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Here's a Sure-winning art store moment from Shelley and Dee Dee.
We're the only full art store in the Bahamas. If we don't have it, we make a list, and trust me, our boss can get that. If you need that, he can get that. You can find sketchbooks, acrylics, the canvases in all sizes, stencils. We have the Angelus that they use on shoes and letters. We're the only persons in Nassau that carries the Montana spray. We have the Krylon sprays, watercolor and paints, the oil, chalk paints, the alcohol paint, metallic paints, the little Floetrol, and we have cleaning products for the artists, thinning products for the artists, and Crayola colors, and pencils, the Posca markers, and pastels, oil, and the acrylic pastels, dyes. Oh yeah, we also have airbrush paint. I didn't forget that part of the movie. Gift sets, hobbycraft,
Oil shrimp,
glaze.
stew shrimp, shrimp gumbo. But art supplies. We have a lot of them. Sherwin-Williams Art Store. Find colour in every day.
Got your final look at weather, brought to you by Sherwin-Williams Paints. So we've got quite a bit going on. We've got a stalled frontal boundary that's meandering across the southeast Bahamas right now as a dominant weather across the rest of the country today. We expect the development of afternoon showers and thunderstorms across the southern islands as a cold front's moving off the southeastern U.S., and that's going to approach the northern Bahamas by later tonight. So this cold front's going to be relatively dry, and that's going to move swiftly across the area through Saturday, eventually merging with that stalled frontal boundary across the southeast Bahamas by early Sunday. High pressure is going to build across the country for the remainder of the weekend and into early next week. Showers and thunderstorms moving east of the southern islands by late Sunday, ahead of yet another front expected to move across the Bahamas by midweek next week. But all of this is going to work to keep temperatures down just a bit over the next few days. So with the southeast Bahamas today, they're looking at showers and thunderstorms, an increase in showers and thunderstorms, and potentially heavy downpours, especially for Inagua and Mayaguana. There's likely flooding in low-lying and flood-prone areas. Boaters and beachgoers are advised that there's a likelihood of waterspout activity near shore of the southeast Bahamas and an elevated risk of rip currents for all Atlantic beaches in the northern Bahamas. Your forecast for today for the northern, northwest, and central Bahamas, partly sunny to mostly sunny today, turning partly cloudy tonight. For the southeastern islands, though, partly cloudy with occasional cloudy periods, especially for Mayaguana and Inagua, with a 20 to 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms there. For most of us, we'll see highs around 84 Fahrenheit, 29 Celsius. Overnight lows not getting down to about 65 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. For the southeast Bahamas, highs around 88 Fahrenheit, 31 Celsius. Lows near 72 Fahrenheit, 22 Celsius. For your weekend, Saturday, tomorrow, partly cloudy to cloudy across the southeastern islands and along the fronts. Mostly sunny, turning mostly fair at night elsewhere. And for Sunday, a mix of sun and clouds for the southeast Bahamas, mostly sunny for the rest of the country. Sunny, turning fair at night by Monday as we kick off Holy Week. That's your Morning Blend weather check brought to you by Sherwin-Williams. Are your walls giving major L? Well, time to fix that at your nearest Sherwin-Williams paint store. They've got vibrant colors delivered with professional vibes. Done listening, will start glistening with Sherwin-Williams paints. And you got your final look at traffic brought to you by RBC. With RBC, reaching your goals happens here. So we've got still that heavy traffic on Tawnic-Williams-Darling Highway between Blue Hill Road and Bahamas Games Boulevard. It is getting worse there, folks. Both directions, east and westbound. Again, a bit unusual at this hour at that location, and that's causing traffic to build up on the other side of that roundabout on Tawnic-Williams-Darling Highway, heading eastbound to Bahamas Games Boulevard. Keep that in mind if you're there. Traffic is backed up along Blue Hill Road as well, from Carmichael straight up to the roundabout, Independence Drive. We're seeing slow-moving traffic both directions on Independence Drive. Milo Butler Highway still heavy for you. North of Harold Pond, you're going to see that slow-moving traffic as you get there. And Gladstone Road, slow-moving but manageable until you get to about Munnings Road, straight up to JFK Drive. Elsewhere, we've got West Bay Street, just east of Arawak Key, slow-moving eastbound traffic near Nassau Street. And Robinson Road between Soldier and Marathon, slow-moving westbound traffic for you at this hour. That's your Morning Blend traffic brought to you by RBC. With RBC, your ideas happen here. All right, so we're getting an update on what's causing that issue on Tawnic-Williams-Darling Highway. So we've got a report of a rollover accident there. So keep that in mind. Hope everybody's okay in that situation, but avoid that area if you can, affecting Bahamas Games Boulevard and Blue Hill Road. Heavy traffic both directions on Tawnic-Williams-Darling Highway. All right, so welcome back to Morning Blend. Dwight Strachan along with Farrell Goff on this Friday. And we're changing gears now. Easter is fast approaching, and food's going to be on the minds of a lot of people. But we are also asking some big questions, like, has the culinary world forgotten the Bahamas? We asked earlier if the culinary world even knew about the Bahamas. Here to answer these questions, we've got the Emmy Award-winning Chef Simeon Hall Jr. Good morning, sir. Great to see you with us.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
All right, so we'll get to the Easter stuff in a little bit, but this is a big question, the culinary world. We know we've got a lot of festivals, we've got a lot of events happening, and some famous folks are coming down for it, but how much of a role is our food playing in these events, and are people getting it that we've got some unique offerings here?
Yeah, well, it's very sluggish, and before I go into that, I want to say congratulations on your 13 years.
Oh, thank you very much.
Every day. That's a new thing for me. Every day.
From 2012.
You've been there every day. My
That's
goodness.
a commitment.
You definitely deserve an award for dealing with us every day.
Do you have a therapist? Never mind. We talk about it.
I need a few.
So
thank you. Appreciate it.
The Bahamas has always had a very, very rich food culture. Unfortunately, it's just like me. I tell people all the time, I don't think I'm the best chef in the Bahamas. I know I'm not. But you have to be public. You have to talk about your story. You have to talk about what is happening. And so you put yourself out there and you make sure that people know you. Now, I may be one of the more well-known ones, but that is one of the things that the Bahamas hasn't done very well over the years. When you look at, for example, most of our ads, they talk about our festival, which is, really once a year. We all can attest to that. They talk about the sun, sand, and sea, and sometimes it's rain here. Then the tourists come and ask you when the rain gets stopped. Why? Because we've talked about sun all the time. And sometimes the beaches have seaweed on them, and they kind of dirty. And the waves kind of crashy, and Bahamians don't even want to go to the beach because that ain't our thing. It too, it look a little dirty, for us. But you see 3 times a day, and we hardly ever talk about, especially in our international arenas, about the richness of our food culture. And so it's not that we don't have it. We know we have it. I think most Bahamians will attest to the fact that, especially in the region, if you eat around in some of these other places in the Caribbean, I love my Caribbean people, but I think we have some of the best food in the Caribbean.
What is, now, I'm sure you could anticipate this question. What is the poster Bahamian food? When you think about other countries, some things can almost immediately pop out. Now, like you said, they may have just done a better job of marketing themselves or telling their story.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the Bahamas, what is the highlight food?
Well,
from your perspective, as a national perspective.
Well, somebody, if you had asked me that question 10 years ago, I have a different answer than I do today because I've been studying it more. First of all, the Bahamas is 700 islands and keys. We are 14. We are 14 major islands, and so for us just to lump one plate, I don't think that does us justice. However, when I travel, most people talk about conch.
Yeah.
Let's talk about conch salad, for example. That's one of the things that comes to mind the minute you say Bahamian. Anything conch, but in particular conch salad.
I visit them, and we had that thing, that big snail, the conch.
Exactly. But think about it. Even as Bahamians, a Nasuvian doesn't know it. A lot of Nasuvians don't know what pickled conch is. You go to Grand Bahama and you know what pickled conch is. You go to Bimini and you know garlic salt on your conch. You go to Abaco and you got mayonnaise in your conch. Try put some mayonnaise and conch salad for a hardcore, hard-foot Nasuvian. They ask you, what you doing? And so we have to look at what it is that we believe is Bahamian first. And that's where we'll be able to sell it to others. One of the things that Jamaica does very well, and oddly enough, I was just on a Jamaican TV show yesterday morning, and it was so surprising to me that they would include other Caribbean countries in their conversation once a week.
Oh.
We ain't that set in our culture for us to be bringing other people with rich culture to talk about their culture. That's one of the issues. Jamaicans have such a strong international foothold when it comes to their culture because Jamaicans have a strong belief in their culture, 110%.
They also migrate and they've created strong.
But it started home. Yeah, it started home, and it definitely started home where you can see a Jamaican. First of all, you need a AI decoder to listen to them wherever they are. Bahamians, we all know, in about 2 weeks, wherever we go, we have the accent.
Yeah, but the same thing. But if you talk too hard Bahamian here, we talk bad. But what's wrong with you? You only educated. What school you going to?
But don't forget now, just in COVID was the first time we ever had a national use of colloquial terms in a national ad. When they say, boy, wear your mask. I took a picture of it because I was flabbergasted. I've been writing Bahamianese in menus for the last 5 years. Some people agree with it, some people don't agree with it. But the food still tastes good, so that's your problem. That ain't my problem. We need more Simeon Hall Juniors. People who get upset when these things happen. I told somebody the other day, if you go into a normal Bahamian interview and talk Bahamianese, quote unquote, you ain't gonna get the job.
Of course not.
You ain't gonna get the job. You ain't gonna get the job. But why not? Why not? You ever been to Jamaica? You ever been to a buffet on Jamaica? Listen to me. If you don't eat hardcore food, you better bring egg and bacon in your bag.
And in the billboards, they'll have the
Of course.
patois. You're like, wait,
Of course.
what does that
So
say?
that is why when you
Very
ask
interesting.
about our international foothold, well, you know,
But
we
you didn't
have.
You didn't answer his question.
I
Though.
can
So you said that,
exactly, I
right?
can
You said
still
things
shop.
changed. A few
I
years ago,
wanna
you
know.
would have said
And
comp.
not
What would
comp-
you say
and
now?
What is a plate? And I want to talk about a plate. What is a plated, like a standard,
you know-
typical, identifiable, marketable
Plenty things.
Bahamian dish? Tell me
Plenty
what it
things.
is. I want to
It
tell me what
can't
the
be
plate.
one. What is the national dish of Jamaica?
I mean, isn't it ackee and codfish?
Yes, it is. What's the national dish of the Bahamas?
I know my favorite dish.
I asked you what is your favorite dish.
Crack cocaine.
See that? This way talking
No,
about crack
you're
coke.
right. We don't have.
That's Greek.
Some people might say corned beef and something, right?
Yeah, I
So-
admit
See, the national dish of the Bahamas is boiled fish.
What?
See that?
Now, is that you saying that?
No,
or is
that ain't the records. Go and check the records and see it.
Which records?
Okay, then I can show you.
All
I can
boiled
show
fish
you.
ain't created equal.
But that's just it. That's it. In some parts of the Bahamas, they put coconut milk in that boiled fish. Me or you would look at that like what this muddy thing is.
We want clear.
The Bahamas is an amalgamation of all sorts of influences that put these things together.
But does that make it more difficult than Simeon to create like a streamlined identity and then push it? I'm just asking in terms of
It does. It
the
does.
overall
Everything in the
conversation
Bahamas
we
is
have today.
difficult because we spread all over the place. That's the same thing with our food, but that doesn't minimize the fact that we all need to talk more about it. We all need to see it mainstream. And so instead of a little small corner in the buffet in the hotel, where it have the Bahamian corner, when you go to a buffet, right there in the corner, way over there by the kitchen door. Instead of that, what about if we had it in the forefront?
So you're saying that this is why the culinary world is not taking it seriously because
This-
we barely know what we're doing.
Exactly. We confused. If you confused, how you could talk about
Is
it?
boiled fish only grouper?
What? See that?
That's,
People have a whole
other show.
conversation.
That's a whole other show. Let's focus, Farrah.
I want the four lines lined up like your boy.
You know what I mean?
So what do we do in the absence of having a whole bunch of Simeon Hall Juniors? How do we get this out there so that people can recognize that we need to get this serious?
Conversation, me and you being proud of what and who we are through our plate. We continue to talk about it. We continue to feature it. We continue to highlight it and not be embarrassed.
Feature what though? See, that's the challenge. I'm sorry. I apologize if I wasn't clear earlier.
Right.
What is it? Like what is the in terms
Everything
of
that you
culinary?
love and like. Everything that you love and like. Would you not be okay with seeing that on an international stage? For example, when we go to do all of our events, the planet, what is it that we use to represent the Bahamas through food? I went to a seminar a couple of months ago, right here, where they put together a group of people, inside a room and they were going to lock us in and talk about Bahamian culture and all aspects. They had people from music, food, the arts, the entire 9 yards. When they break for lunch, guess what we had?
Subway. They do those nice platters anyway. You get the
Salad,
to the show.
sandwich, meatball, pasta salad, and chicken wing. So you know me and myself, I get up and say, guys, this is the problem. Where a stew fish, where a corned beef and white rice, where a pear, where all these things that you and I love and eat on a daily basis, but we don't put out there.
All right, so the perception is that is going to be costly. It's going to be a lot. You better have a special occasion for that, as opposed to the meatballs and the chicken wings. Is that
our food is
incorrect?
not costly? Bahamian
No?
food is built on being creative with what you have. It's not costly at all. Of course,
that was the history of it.
Yeah. That's what is rooted in. So that's null and void. When all these tariffs and things come around, y'all better start using some tree rock stove and some breadfruit and thing out of y'all yard. I can tell you that.
I was watching a video on YouTube. So I think it's an American group, the American family. They go around all over the place, and they were eating Bahamian food for the first time, and they were noting that yes, other places in the Caribbean have this combination. They have rice and they have fish and they have it, but they said that the spices, the way we did this, made it very,
100%.
very unique. Let's talk more about that. And that while other people in the Caribbean may say they have this, they have conch, they have lamb whatever, right?
Yeah.
But they don't do it the way we do it, and we need to celebrate that.
We definitely. I was working on a social media post before Good Friday coming up that talks about the uniqueness of us cutting pepper into salt. I've gone to events filled with other Caribbean chefs. And when you see me get there and I put some bird pepper and some rock salt on the chopping board and I start cutting that together to season everything, they look at me like, Chef, what that is? Who teach you that? Where do you all do that? That's very unique to us. The way that we season fish, I mean, come on. We actually cure the fish in the fridge overnight. Like our fishes be almost half cooked by the time it go in the fryer.
Right.
You know what I mean? That is a thing for us. Fry, dry, and moist is a thing for us. These things that we do that are so unique. Bahamians have the best macaroni in the Caribbean. I have Caribbean people telling me that all the time. Just the way that we do it, the method that we do it, it is absolutely brilliant. And so it's not that we don't do these things. It's just that we keep it under a bushel, hide it, and we don't share it with everybody else.
Do we see it as something collectively, do we see it as something we can market as strong as some of the, those other countries and their staple dish?
What is your chicken?
I would instinctively say Jamaican.
Yeah, but how
grilled.
First of all, see, that's the assumption.
Some people have
it's not grilled. It's not supposed to be grilled. Real jerk chicken is smoked. It's a low and slow method that came from barbacoa.
And there's a difference between
It's
smoked
huge,
and grilled.
huge, huge.
But for some people, it's just adding a sauce on it.
But if you ask most people throughout the Caribbean, if you say Caribbean and you say you live in the Bahamas, they still ask you if you make jerk chicken. So any event I go to, even if I'm making something that is in the style of jerk, I don't call it jerk. I don't. I call it spice or something else, because I don't want people to get confused and think that it's one homogeneous amalgamation of culture just boxed up as one and delivered to everybody. That's why everybody think once you're in the Caribbean, you eat jerk food. But the problem is you go to any buffet in the Bahamas and you go to some events and the word jerk is the highlight. How? We don't jerk nothing?
What would be there if it's not conch salad? What will then be in the place of the jerk? What should be the highlighted dish or meal?
I'll say this to you, and I don't mean this to be facetious. I mean this for you to be a little bit thought provocative. I skinny, you ain't skinny, and you ain't skinny. We eating something.
I love
so whatever we eating, why we can't talk about it more?
Yeah.
We prefer you put.
But you just put me in my place when I say my crock conch. You
but I just said it is Greek. Most Bahamians don't even know that. that the Greeks,
But you
Bahamian Greeks.
want me to have a crock?
I tell you, don't talk about it. First of all, it hardly available when you go.
Right?
One place.
Right?
Say
That's
anyway,
a once-a-year treat now.
So we just got to make sure that these things are available there to the forefront, and we put them in a way that people can relate.
So, unfortunately, I mean, is this what's going to happen? We're going to have the chefs from other parts of the world come and talk about how amazing it is for the rest of the world to pay attention?
Well, that's what marketing is. Marketing is an inclusion of locals and visitors, especially in the Bahamas where tourism will always be tourism. So again, we need to do that. That's one of the reasons why our food has been dumbed down, because we've made it so that it goes to visitors more than it goes to Bahamians.
Wow.
When last you went to a restaurant, anywhere outside your Grammy or your house, and you had real peas and rice? Peas and rice, only rice and browning and rice these days. That ain't peas and rice.
What's real peas and rice?
Peas and rice is a pilau. A pilau is a cook-up, meaning that you got to do all these little things. Well, what you want me to do if I smart? This is what I do every day. I supposed to know some things, but that's what it is. It's a cook-up. It's something that was made from, you bring a little bit of this, you bring a little bit of that, we put a little bit of this in it. It had, it started off with crab in it. So there was crab, there was pork, because we only use pork fat. We use lard to make our thing. Dry conch, which was something that Christopher Columbus done meet going on around here.
Good.
All those flavors put inside a rice to make a dish. You don't see that no more, because somebody came here one time in one hotel, I can imagine, and I'll go down the lib and say, listen, everybody don't eat pork. Don't put no pork in it. Some people are allergic to seafood. Don't put no conch in it.
That was the end of that.
And that was it. Yeah. So now all you have is this brown mud.
Dirty rice.
That people serving for peas and rice that your great-grandmother would be absolutely ashamed of seeing you serve.
Wow.
So we have to stop that. Yeah. When I go to events, I told somebody just the other day, they were trying to get me to do a Bahamian event. I say, Mom, you know me well enough to know if it ain't be hardcore, don't call me. And we have to stick to that so that we go there. You can't let me make vegan peas and rice, because I ain't making it.
is there any going back, or is that just the evolution of culinary offerings in the Bahamas or different countries? Does it evolve? And this is this peas and rice is a good example, maybe a good example of that evolution.
Yeah,
because I don't know if it's going back.
Well, again, be careful how you evolve. You can have both. Two things can be correct at the same time. You can have a version, but then you also need to have an understanding of the fundamentals.
Yeah.
I tell people when I do mentorship all the time, know the fundamentals so you can know how to change and break the rules.
This is like guava duff, right? The way that we're doing it now is definitely not the way it was done 50, 100 years ago.
I'm 100%. It's neater, it's cleaner, it presents better. But here's the thing, I have a problem with guava duff. First of all, again, this is me being rather intelligent, because I am a hog.
Here we go.
The Bahamas is the only Caribbean country that has a 100% imported national dessert.
Wow.
If you use tin guava.
You step on plenty coins.
Well, I don't care. I'm telling the truth. I ain't talking emotions here. This is facts. If you use tin guava, it's tin guava, imported flour, imported sugar, imported baking flour, imported butter to make your national dish. The only country in the West Indies that has something like that. That can't be right. Nobody can want to celebrate that. If you can do the evolution of the guava duff, the roll.
I feel sad. I feel hurt now.
Of course. It ain't got to be in no pillowcase no more. I understand that. Because some people was using the same pillowcase when they get out of the laundry.
What a Benny cake and the coconut cake and they more authentic.
But let's finish this. All I'm saying is at least use fresh guava. Because don't forget, the dessert isn't guava duff. It's duff. Meaning that it's supposed to be whatever is in season. And when you don't have whatever is in season, which you should have, you use raisins, which was the first rendition of duff. You see what I'm saying? So with it evolving, I make guava duff ice cream the other day. I made peas and peas and
You use fresh guava?
I made pigeon peas and dough spring rolls the other day as
I
well.
thought you were going to say ice cream. Thank God you did. Okay.
So,
spring rolls, that sounds pretty good.
I don't have a problem with interpretations.
Mm-hmm.
My style is a fusion of the classics, tradition, authenticity, and modern interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Wow. All right. So again, what do you recommend to get everybody to recognize, except for the dessert thing, that we have something amazing, authentic, different, even though it may sound like other things in other parts of the region, you'll never experience it like you do when you come to the Bahamas.
100%. Keep doing what we do. Make sure you stay true to what it is that you are doing. Be proud about it. Advertise it. Talk about it. Welcome it. You know what I mean? When people come to Nassau to visit, where is your one restaurant that you have to take them to? What does that taste like? What is that like? What is the one dish that you have to make sure you feed them? That is Bahamian culture.
But I was just thinking about it. You said it. You said that I never knew about the crab thing in the peas and rice, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people won't know about this. Where do you find that if I want to make traditional peas and rice or traditional guava, where is the recipe to tell you this is what Grammy used to do?
Well, first of all, there's two things. One, Grammy have the recipe. Pay attention. That's one of the lost arts of the Bahamian kitchen. We don't pay attention. Grammy was cooking every day. And nobody paid attention to none of our recipes.
We'll tell you them old school recipes will kill you nowadays, man, because they use all this unhealthy stuff.
Well, I get unhealthy and Grammy dead when she was 218. How I get unhealthy? It was the entire experience of her life that brought these dishes to, that's a whole different health conversation. I talking about the recipe. Pay attention. People say all the time that our grandma measured anything. That is absolutely incorrect. They just never use a traditional measuring method. Grammy always used the same pot. She had one cup in there every time she go to make bread. That was the cup that she used to make.
Any measurements,
No.
but there was a cup.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what she used. So we need to pay attention to that. Our people, black people, have always been oral in the way that we do things. I'm writing a cookbook, finally getting it out of the gate. That's going to be a part of it. The one thing that I'll say to you is be careful of the internet.
Yeah.
Because if you go on the internet and you Google some of these Bahamian recipes, God help you.
Someone just said they Googled national dish of the Bahamas and it said conch salad. Well, AI told them.
Exactly. So
be
we
very
have to be very, very careful because we're not putting these things into play. We are not writing them down. We are not doing proper research. So we have to go and make sure and listen to our grandparents. Start writing things
It's going
down.
really quickly. I want to get to Easter, and we've got some calls coming in. But clear this up. Somebody's saying here, mayo and conch salad is not Bahamian. Is that accurate?
By the
to
malt
say?
ain't Bahamian, but Bahamians is drink by the malt.
Is it not Bahamian?
Of course it is. 100%. But again,
but it's specific.
It's a part of what
it's
we
regional.
do. Yeah.
Regional.
It's island specific.
Yeah.
It's island specific.
Yeah. All right, let's take these calls really quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, morning, Dwight. New guest, how you doing?
Doing well.
Hey,
Morning, buddy.
Please, hey, guest, how you doing? Hey, do me a favor. Please tell people who cook with parboiled rice they can't cook.
They can't cook. I just said. Next caller. They can't cook.
Put mayonnaise and conch salad, right?
Have you had it
But they
before?
have a very difficult time explaining that to God. Don't judgment.
Have you had it before?
But see, hold on, caller. That's a part of the problem. A part of the problem is when you live on a certain island, it's the same thing as the U.S. For example, let's use barbecue as a quick example. And Charleston barbecue is two different types of barbecue. The person in Texas believes Texas barbecue is the only kind of barbecue. The person in Charleston believes it's the only kind of barbecue. So we have to allow for us to understand that Bahamian cuisine is, in some instances, island specific.
Yeah.
You ask a lot of people here in New Providence about pickled conch, whether they've had it or not had it, and they'll tell you they don't even know what that is. You ask somebody in Grand Bahama, they can tell you they don't know what tropical salad is, where you're going with all this fruit inside the salad.
Yeah. Wow.
So we have to allow that sort of give and take for you to understand real Bahamian food culture.
All right, so we can't let that caller go about the parboiled thing because you hurt a lot of people's feelings. But we might have to do a whole show on this. Why is it wrong to use parboiled rice?
Because parboiled rice was, again, Bahamian peas and rice is a braised rice. It's a pilau. In order for you to cook peas and rice properly, where it absorbs the flavor, you have to use a long grain style rice that allows the rice to absorb the flavor. Parboiled rice was invented so that it was a quicker process and it doesn't allow the absorption of flavor like traditional long rice.
Interesting.
And plus it's easier to cook and people don't soggy it up.
Right, it doesn't get soggy.
Right.
It's mine, know his stuff. You gotta go for it.
One more call because we're running out of time. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. Enjoying the show. Jeff, Dwight, y'all need to bring the chef on. This is the food ambassador. I'm the ambassador for the Bahamas, but I wanted to clear this up. First of all, the last caller from Fox Hill, he made me laugh. I almost vomit because but he said you need to answer to God for putting mayonnaise in the count. But I wanted to clear this up. Grammy from Andres, right? Chef Simeon all? This is his son, right?
Yeah. No, my Grammy was...
So, at 60, she used to do the guava stuff. It used to be yellow, right? She used to be yellow. And I think she used to put a little rum in it, but it used to taste so good. Like my brother, I'm the worst cook out of all the 5 children, probably, right? But, Satan is like a cook. I never used parboiled rice in my life, but I wanted to know, because my brother was a Rasta, he used a different type of flour, but the sauces now has a lot of guava in it. But Grammy wanted to taste better than them to me. So I don't know, I don't know what she was doing, but it really, I know she put a little flavor of something, rum in it, and it's always yellow and it just tastes good. I don't know what she's doing.
Okay, so just quickly, this is one of the things that I'm now talking about a little bit more. The difference between authentic and traditional. Authentic is totally different from traditional. However, they are used interchangeably a lot of times incorrectly. Because here's the thing, tradition is very unique to certain households. So you have a tradition. What is a tradition you have on Christmas morning or Boxing Day morning? That is specific to your house. Authentic is global. It is regional. It is based on what is happening for all of us to be able to relate. So rum butter is the sauce for duff. Now, whether you put a little of a puree in it from the seeds, whether you add cream or you add milk, was based on what you were doing in your house. And so it's not wrong. It's just your tradition that you've added to a recipe. A recipe is a guideline. It's a guiding tool. And how you make adjustments to that is probably to your house. If nobody in your house is drink rum, what are you putting rum in the sauce for? You see what I'm saying? But overall, it was authentically a buttercream sauce.
Yeah, that's how you win competitions. You got to do something different from the other people, right?
Exactly.
But it's all still in the same family.
Exactly.
All right, so callers, we're running out of time. We're going to have Chef Simeon Hall on more often.
Clearly he's stirred the people up.
But Easter, do we have any? Is there anything authentic about Easter food in the Bahamas, or what do we all over the place?
Fish is going to be a big deal. And, again, the question of who, what type of fish, all these other stuff, people fighting for goggle eye, people want snappers, people want fillet, people don't want fillet, head on, head off, fry, dry, and season. But again, go to any Bahamian home, and authentically what you're going to have is fish and hot cross bun.
Buns, yeah.
That's another discussion right there. Hot cross bun, some of them bunning ain't bunning. But again, that's a whole different
hot cross buns. So is that taken
authentically Bahamian?
Wow.
In this region, if you actually go and talk about hot cross buns right now, which came from England, the Bahamas is one of the first ones that talks about it's still being used as a part of our Easter tradition.
So that's Good Friday mainly, right? But what about Easter Sunday?
Well, Easter Sunday is supposed to have lamb, but lamb price them high now.
Oh my gosh!
So I think I don't think too much lamb. Even lamb chop gone up, so I ain't too much lamb lambing.
Time. I'd love to know the history behind the lamb on Easter
The
Sunday.
Lamb of Christ. The Lamb of Christ. The Lamb of God.
Yeah.
Can
you do ham
on Christmas? No, man.
You can't do ham. Oh, Easter. No.
See, you don't want to make it to 14 years. You keep talking.
All right, anything but have. All right, we got to do this more often. You're supposed to tell us what you're doing about the book. How's that going?
The book is coming along very well. I'm doing a couple of features coming up. We just confirmed that we are going to start shooting season 3 of the Emmy show that we won in December.
Yeah.
So we're super excited of that. All that is happening in May, and then I'm going to be at Food and Fet on May 17th in Miami.
Okay. We'll probably talk to you before that.
Yeah.
But good stuff. We're going to have you on for much longer next time. Chef Simeon Hall Jr., thank you for being here this morning.
It's
Happy
my pleasure.
Easter to you.
Thank you so much.
We'll talk with you soon. We got to take a break for news and be back with business. You don't want to miss that. Our Safe and Sound series coming right up.
Awesome.
Macaroni and cheese, roast beef, pork chop, rice and black-eyed peas. He had stew kong, crack kong salad too, potato salad and coleslaw, just to name a few. People watch in amazement at what he eat. He belonged in the Guinness Record Book for such a feat.
All those loans I had were so overwhelming. Fidelity's debt consolidation loan combined all my loan payments into one easy payment with a built-in savings plan that pays me unbeatable interest. It's time to make that move to Fidelity. Call 356-7764.
Fidelity, we're good for you.
In the world of business, technology is not a choice, it's a necessity. And for businesses that demand excellence, there's only one choice for unparalleled support and cutting-edge technology. Custom Computers. You have challenges and we have solutions. Computing, networking, storage, and printing for enterprises large and small, aligned with premium brands like HP, Microsoft, Konica Minolta, and more. Get tech done the right way with Custom Computers. Call the know-how team at 396-1101.
Now let me see now. 326 EPIC. Hello? This Epic battery. This Miss Beulah from round the corner. I hear you're selling tires now on Wolf Road too.
Praise the Lord. It's about time. I live Fox Hill and Fire Trail. It's too far.
That ain't all. They open Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. On Sunday and holiday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
My brother Sam, he's a hacker, and he could go right there and get fixed up.
Call us at 326-EPIC. We ship also to the Family Island.
Screws and Fasteners World has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Valpo Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app. Nassau, Bahamas. This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news and intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversations. 96.9 FM. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the management and staff of Guardian Radio.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Friday, April 11th, 2025. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan along with Farrell Goff, and it is time for our Safe and Sound series each second Friday of the month. Our special series with Gamal Nuri from Preventative Measures. Good morning, sir. Great to have you with us.
Dwight. Good morning, Bahamas. I understand Farrell is with you as well.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Hey, morning, sir.
Morning,
Hope everybody's well.
Thank you.
Doing well. Hope the same for you. All right, so we have a very interesting topic. This one, I like this one, Gamal. Untrained security equals unprepared and unsafe workforce. Oh, boy. All right, so many questions. But give us an overview of the topic before we get into all the things I need to get some answers to, and whether we have trained security officers, like really trained, and what does that mean here? What does that mean? Let's begin with that.
Sufficiently trained.
What does it mean if we have trained security officers?
Yeah, are they just wearing uniforms?
Yeah, there's no specific standard given by the regulator, which is national security, as it pertains to officers stating that they be trained. So that's really left in the hands of the security provider.
Wow.
Is that a problem in your expert opinion?
Oh, definitely. Because what is the standard? What is the standard for a officer to, be at on your premises? How did he qualify? How did he qualify to sit at your premise and deliver a service? Has he been trained? And so, yes, I think that national security should be, or the legislation should exist that requires some minimum standard for an officer to say that he is an officer.
Is that typical? Is that in other jurisdictions, regionally, globally, would we see standards in place?
Oh, definitely. It's interesting you asked that. I actually participated in the process for Jamaica about 25 years ago now, where I participated in the development of the PRSA, which is the Private Security Regulatory Commission in Jamaica. You have locations like Trinidad, Barbados, St. Kitts, Antigua, St. Lucia have a standard, a minimum standard. They also do similar, the regulatory agency does similar work like, let's say, the Central Bank and the Securities Commission or IRCA. They go out and they inspect. They ensure that you don't just qualify for the license, but you also maintain the standards to keep your license. Wow. So that is definitely a global standard. If you go in areas like Denmark, where they have almost 360 hours worth of qualifiers before you can even put on a uniform. Mm-hmm. Not so much in the U.S. The U.S. standards range state to state anywhere from 8, 16, 40 hours, depending on the state. So yes, it is an international best practice to ensure that these individuals are trained and they maintain a certain standard.
So as it stands now here in the Bahamas, it depends on the company, and if the company has a certain policy, is that how it works?
0 hours.
So it depends on the company. It could also depend on the client. The client might demand, if we're going to be doing a particular service, a specialized service, that we want your officers to do this type of training. Mm-hmm. And so it really depends on the service provider. Do they want to, be above the fray and ensure that their officers are more professional, have more knowledge of the craft? Also, like I said, the location. The client may require that if you're going to have an officer here, we would want them to do certain things now. And I say this, the security officer is your first and last impression of that business establishment.
Wow.
So he may not be a direct employee of a business, but the first person you're going to see when you walk into that building is a security officer. Mm-hmm. And the last person you're going to have contact with is the security officer. Yeah. So you need to ensure that, that at first contact is a courteous, professional, well-groomed individual. And that's my opinion.
So before we get deeper into the topic, so is there a movement here? Are there people clamoring for there to be regulations and requirements and standards? What are we seeing right now?
Unfortunately, the movement is very reactive. When we see a deficiency in security personnel, security guards, then the customer and that's the customer coming into the business or the client, and hey, we need to do something about it. You don't have so much of a push on the side of the service provider, on the guard service company, again, because it's a different priority for them. It's not high on that list. You want to have officers trained, so there's not a major push. Now, I stand corrected. I know that national security has been doing some things as of last November, if I recall correctly. And so they are doing some things, trying to improve the standard. I suspect that some legislation will be coming out by June or July, where they are making an effort to change that norm, to change the culture of the security service in the country, private security, that is.
All right. So part of the topic that we're talking about, so untrained security equals unprepared and unsafe workforce. Let's get deeper into that. Often it's a private firm, security for your company, for your business. So why necessarily will it mean that the workplace will be unprepared and unsafe?
If we look at security holistically, Dwight, and it's interesting where this discussion started. When you hear the term security, your first conclusion, you go to the security guard. But really, if we're looking at security holistically, security is everyone's responsibility. It isn't just the security guard. It is the responsibility of the leadership to ensure that it's a safe and secure working environment. There may be entities, and we can go into businesses today that do not have a security guard, but nevertheless, they need to have security. So when you talk about culture, culture means that all persons who are employed at that entity have some level of security awareness, how to respond, how to prevent incidents from happening. So it isn't just in the hands of security. And that is the typical, when you hear the word, security, people go immediately to the guard at the booth. Hopefully he's awake, but if you go immediately to the guard at the booth, right?
Mm-hmm.
But notwithstanding that, the landscaping individual has a responsibility as well to make sure that the location is secure. The customer service representative, they all have a role when you understand what security is. And security is creating a culture of safety, a culture free from loss, a culture of protection. And that's not only the responsibility of a guard. And it's very ironic that you would want to outsource that responsibility totally to an organization that has not vested in your business.
Oh, wow.
So if I said, okay, that's all well and good in theory, but if we in the Bahamas, ain't much is going on. I mean, we have sufficient security we have now. Every now and then somebody might, rob them at a store here and there. It's not all the legislation and all that 360 hours of training annually. That's overkill, man. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that's my position. What would be your response to something like that, right? Because some people may not really appreciate the need for this.
Right, and my response would be exactly that. It is not just a security guard perspective. Let's use what's in the in the newspaper. We're talking about the management of jet ski operators to reduce the threat to our reputation and the threat to visitors.
I was coming to that. I was going to ask you about that a little bit later. But yes, let's get to it.
I anticipated, right? So I said, I'll cut you off at the pass.
Okay.
You went for real off at the pass, right? But that is a security issue. That's a security issue that requires some preemptive work by the various entities, ministries, Ministry of Transport, National Security, to implement policy to ensure that visitors, users of that, because Bahamians take part in that as well, are able to use that type of facility in a safe and secure environment. So you're not going to have a guard on that, or you can put someone to monitor, say a police or defense force officer, but what's happening before that? Are you vetting the individuals properly? Is there a proper call-up system to ensure that the jet ski operators are not, because it's a hustle out there. So there's this back and forth. How do you manage that better to ensure that it's a safe and secure environment for persons to have recreation? So that's a security issue.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily resting on the hands of a security guard, but that's a security issue.
Yeah. So since we're here, and I don't want to stray too far, but since we're here, what's your view on the body cams proposal or suggestion for the client, not the operator? What do you say about
that? That, in my opinion, as from what I've been made to understand, puts on the user to manage their safety, because there's a lot of things that go on with running a body cam, and I'm not a big fan of that or that being the only solution. There should be a list of things, and perhaps that's on the list of things. But if that's that's all we have right now, then I don't think that's a very reasonable approach at this point. There has to be other things that make it a more holistic approach, as opposed to saying, a body cam, and that's because that suggests, for me, if you're going to do surveillance, video surveillance, are you saying that you're going to have individuals in a control station monitoring every jet ski rider in real time to see if something is about to happen? I mean, that's a big ask. That's a big take on. And if you're going to talk about now the network or the platform for that to run on out on these remote locations or out in the sea, so it's a bit. If it's the only thing on the list, then we need to do better. It has to be other solutions or other recommendations to mitigate that problem. The only thing I've heard and I've read the article is the use of the jet ski. There's a suggestion that there is vetting, but the problem also is that from what they're saying, that these are rogue operators, persons who are not licensed. So let's also address that. So it has to be more to it than just body cams.
Right.
It has to be.
Yeah. Wow.
By itself, it makes no sense.
All right. So I want to go back to something you said a few minutes ago about the security officers, the guards, and yet many companies have opted to outsource it. How odd that is. But let's talk about that. I mean, what should be the standard, and should that depend on the size of the company? Why not outsource?
No, Dwight. I would not say do not outsource. No, what I'm saying is, if you're going to outsource, ensure that individual or that company is presenting to you a professional individual. This is the first and last. If you have a bank, financial institution, right, and the individual being placed there by that security service provider does not have the basic competencies, why would you want that person to be the first contact with your staff, with your customer? That makes no sense. You should hold that entity, that private security provider, to a higher standard from a customer service position, and even from a liability position. Has he been trained in aggressive behavior management? What is your policy in regards to his dealing with an aggressive individual? So I'm not saying not to outsource. I'm saying it's unfortunate that persons decide to outsource and are not taking more control or putting more input into who that individual is standing at their front door.
Often you don't know who it is. The person is on maybe 1 month on for your company and then somewhere else. What challenges does that present?
That presents a challenge. However, again, you have the ability to determine who is going to be standing at my front door. So there are policies, there are contract agreements, and I've seen these. I've actually implemented some of these, that service provider cannot put an individual in by your business. And so there's a pool of individuals who are available, and that service provider has to now ensure that we're not just putting John Brown at your front door. And again, I go back to the financial institution. Don't you want to know who is standing at your front door in regards from a criminal perspective? Has the necessary due diligence been done by the service provider to ensure that the individual standing at my door does not have a criminal history that could jeopardize my operations? So all of these nuances should be addressed if I'm going to put you at my front door.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to have you moving in and out my facilities, especially having control of that facility on non-operational hours when there's no one else there but that individual, and I don't know who that is, that definitely is a client responsibility more so than even a service provider responsibility.
In your experience, Gamal Nuri, how often is that happening here?
Like I said, I have developed contracts with several of my clients to ensure that is happening. The frequency of it, I can say that it's happening with my clients. How often is it happening with other entities? I can't speak to that because again, it is going back to where do we put security from a cultural perspective. Burrell started to speak about it's the Bahamas. Do we need it? It's too much standards, and that's how we're trying to change this culture, and that's why this discussion is talking about changing the culture. You want to have a better appreciation for the individuals that you're letting into your secure spaces, the individuals who have access to your private and confidential information. So maybe or the violence is not as bad as other jurisdictions, like let's say some of our neighbors to the south, who had to do a bit more because of the high crime rate and putting all of the responsibility on the police. So they had to improve the standards for security. But the Bahamas still has incidents of crime. We're very much now going to cyber security issues, and these individuals are being given access to your facility, and you don't know who they are. You don't have the necessary controls in place to manage that.
Yeah. I want to get into the always controversial topic of armed security officers, guards, in a bit. But let's take these calls. We've got some calls coming in. You can call us as well as we talk with Gamal Nuri in our Safe and Sound series. We're talking about untrained security equals unprepared and unsafe workforce. Caller, what say you?
Very sure, usual, Dwight, your guest, how you doing?
Doing well.
Right, I like what your guest is saying, right? The problem in what he's saying is he's not being realistic. The reason why I'm saying that is, this is the Bahamas. We bask in the glory of prostitution of labor. What I mean by that is, right, if you're willing to work for Dilly or Tamron, we hiring you, which means that we will hire anyone that's willing to work for minimum labor without paying national insurance. Most of the security people, most of the people who hiring security guards actually have criminal records. If you look around and drive around to number houses, banks and all that, right, you can't even wonder why these places are being robbed because the people that they're hiring. We do not properly vet in the Bahamas for security guards based on the fact that we're looking for cheap labor.
Okay, caller, don't go yet. I want Gamal to respond to you. But I got to say, I noticed I love what you do a wonderful job of painting the very bleak picture of how things look. Do you want it to change? What do you really...
I'm actually being realistic.
I know you are really dropping some real nuggets on us every day. But do you want it to change? Do you think we can change it?
But the reality of the situation is, right, we love prostitution of labor. Dwight, let me ask you a question. A lot of people around here, right, if you hire notice, right, when you go to these places, the food stores, banks, number houses, right, what is the typical thing you notice with all these people? They have an American accent. Think about it. They have an American accent.
Well, sometimes they have another type of accent, but I hear you. Okay. Mm-hmm.
You say coming from, right?
Yeah. All right.
And then the people willing to work.
Let's.
Okay.
I appreciate the call. Thank you very much. Thank you. Keep calling. Get Mal to respond to that.
Yeah. So Dwight, realistic, and I smile at that comment. Realistic is what you make it. So if you're in a situation where the current situation is not what you want it to be, then you have to change it, and that's being realistic. No one is asking for a magic bullet. There are obviously several challenges with delivering quality security services in the country. So to say that we're in a unchangeable situation, I think that's being unrealistic. We can change it. I mentioned earlier that the Ministry of National Security has some things in play Also, that I have clients that have changed the game. So I think to say that we cannot change is the unrealistic perspective. We can change. We just have to put the effort there. And what he is mentioning about the level of officers that have been deployed at various there's twofold. The business that hires them, meaning the service provider, they have a responsibility. But I go back to the point I made. You as the owner of that business, you have a say as well as to who is going to be in your business. So unrealistic is that we cannot change, and we cannot change the current condition. That's the unrealistic thing, because I've seen it, and it's happening in the country as well. That there is a change. There are situations where quality guards have been delivered to a particular location.
Okay, let's take one more call. And we've got a few messages for you. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning.
Hi.
I had to call back, and the last caller highlighted something that I wanted to mention. And I lean in on the side of Kamal because I'm able to see, right? The last caller highlighted the exploitation of the security workers as it relates to labor laws, overtime, and the amount of hours worked. And because these entities are predominantly owned by ex-police officers and police officers, they are being allowed to do this. And I'm telling you. And so what happens then, the lack of background check. I'm not talking about someone who get locked up and smoke a little piece of weed or wait. And you look at them, nothing wrong with having your hair plaited, but they need to be trained if you're going to have a criminal record and still be allowed to work. This is the reason now why you having so much inside information when people are robbed. And so Kamal Nuri highlighted the real crux of the situation. As a business owner, then that's the onus is on you to provide this background check on these people in these business places, because you can see most of them are unprofessional and too thuggish. When people come to show up their business, they're not looking for any confrontation or any type foolish encounters and threatening situations with security guards. And I mean, like I said, the officers who own these entities get any ordinances to correct these. Because if you have a problem with this on the police force, what do you think about the security guard situation? It can be a break.
Don't go 52. Don't go. Oh, is he gone? I wanted to ask him what he's having for breakfast. He sounds like he's having breakfast there. Okay, but Gamal, who you get the background check from? Do you ask the company to provide the information about this person, or do you need to get now a different company to do the background check for the officer, the guard?
There's no one set solution. There's no cookie cutter solution for it, Dwight. Whether you determine that you trust that this guard service is able to deliver the quality of background checks that you want, and if they don't, then you find another entity. You should, and this is why this is so important in this discussion from a business perspective. We can't put the total blame and responsibility on a guard service provider when you as a business because it's your business, it's your investment. And if you're outsourcing security, you should have a standard in place. And I go back to how I have worked with clients in developing those standards and those policies to ensure that when you bring in a company A, that they meet your criteria beyond just, put a guard at my front door. Mm-hmm. Who is this guard? What is his criminal record? What is his training? Can you show me his training record? Can you show me his police record? Let me see that detailed background check that you did. If you're going to have him standing at my door, that's not the responsibility of the security service provider. That's your responsibility as a professional business entity. If we're hiring Gamal Nuri as someone to do work in your business, you're going to do a background check on me, correct, right?
I would hope.
You're going to make sure that if I'm coming into your business to deliver IT service, to be an accountant, to be a managing director, whatever that is that you have hired me for, you're going to ensure that I meet your standard. Yeah. Why aren't you doing that as a business with the guard service company that's coming in? Why aren't you doing that? It makes no sense.
All right, so we're getting the Ministry of National Security. So they're saying that to get a security firm license or security guard license, the Security and Intelligence Branch of the Royal Bahamas Police Force does security vettings on all, even the ones working directly for companies.
And there's an act that speaks directly to it. I'm kind of just flipping through it right now, and it's pretty descriptive, but I don't...
What's the name of it, the act?
Just kind of, there is the... question, Dwight. Inquiry Agents and Security Guards Act.
Okay. Yes. Interesting. Yes. All right, so...
and it has some requirements that speak directly to security guards. I'm flipping through it, Gamal. I don't see anything specific to amount of training or hours of training or type of training, but maybe it's there. I admit that I'm just flipping through it right now. Are you familiar with it, Gamal?
With it, and I agree with the fact that it speaks to what is the basic requirement, citizenship, the amount of the fee for that. But as it pertains to qualifications from a training perspective, from an academic perspective, it does not speak to that. And like I said earlier, and I'm hoping maybe the person who texts from National Security can also speak to that. That what is the plan moving forward? Because again, where we sit as a country, and when we compare to other countries in the region, we really need to improve that deliverable. Now, when it comes to by security intelligence branch, right? That's a preliminary inquiry. But it is still on the responsibility of the business. See, again, that's something that an outside entity is doing. You as a business owner need to ensure that that standard is maintained. Where is that report? So I can see it.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be putting this guy to sit on a 12 to 8 shift in my business, and he has total responsibility for that business. Where is that report? So I can assess my risk appetite for having that individual on my property.
And how can you ensure that they have been vetted? The company has been vetted. Is there?
This is my point. This is my point now, because what is being said that this is being done, but where is that report for me as a business owner? Can I have access to that report? Can I see that report to ensure that it was done, or do I need to do something else? And also, the secondary check needs to be done by the security provider to ensure that, hey, we're now satisfied that this individual can meet our standard. But we go back, where is the standard? Where is the standard? There is none. So what you may require, Dwight, and what Gamal requires and what Pharrell requires, that's three different things.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about whether security guards should be armed. Before we do, I want to read this text. This is a sarcastic, I'm influencing people. That's unfortunate. But this person says here, you think that's it? Because this is a lot of snark. This person says here, the qualifications for a security guard are 1, you have to be Haitian. Oh boy. 2, be able to use a radio.
That's not true. And Pharrell has that arc in his hand. That's definitely security is an exclusive industry. So let me nip that right in the book.
Okay, good. Clear that one up.
Yeah, that's not true.
And you heard the caller earlier about everybody has an American accent.
They may have some heritage in the U.S., but the mandate and the laws there and national security, and that's one of the things national security, I think, is aggressively pursuing, ensuring that this is an exclusive industry for Bahamians, and so that the companies that are allowing or have these non-Bahamians as a part of their workforce, they're making efforts to correct them.
Okay, so they say 2, you have to be able to use a radio or walkie-talkie if one is provided. 3, have a personal cell phone to call the police. What? 4, make sure no one parks in the boss's parking lot at the establishment. And 5, in some cases, make sure no one parks in the handicap spot. Oh, boy. And that's what they're saying. That's all that the requirements are. That's, wow. Anyway, so with people having the industry in this light, unfortunately, seeing it in this light, what do you say about arming security guards and officers?
As it stands right now, I'm not a proponent of it. As it stands right now, the current condition. Certainly, if we can improve on the basics and bring those standards up, as it pertains to the ability, the competencies of officers. And if an entity so requires, because it's happening now, where entities hire police officers, off-duty police officers, to provide an armed service. I think that service can be provided to the company, but not under the present circumstances, because there's no standard for minimum, there's no minimum standard. So now, do I want to take that current condition and then put a firearm in that individual's hands? No, definitely not. Can it happen? Should it happen? Yes, because it is happening. If a private entity can hire a police officer off duty, private engagement, on approval from the commissioner of police, let me make sure I get that right before a person is saying the police are being hired or paid. No, that's a process that goes through the commissioner of police. If that can happen now, and it is happening now, I see no reason in the future, after security or the security industry has upped its game, that officers cannot be armed to deliver that same service.
Okay, we got about 30 seconds, Gamal Nuri. So you put a lot of the onus on the companies themselves who are hiring the security firms to do a lot of the heavy lifting here. Your message to them, if they're saying, hey, that's why I hired a security guard firm, because I don't have the resources, the time, the energy, the mind space to deal with this. Why are you trying to make my life more difficult? What do you say to them?
It's good business practice. You are putting an individual into your entity and exposing them to your confidential information, your customers. You're exposing them to your finances. You should now be able to do a little bit more in ensuring that the product that you're buying is a quality product. That's just I think that's just good business sense. And is it asking a bit more? Perhaps it is. It may mean just writing a policy. It may be in a regular review of the performance of that security service provider. But when you weigh the potential in loss, when you weigh the potential the litigation that could come from a misuse of that officer, then I would say, is it not worth it? So definitely change the game. Do not have total reliance on the private security provider. Ensure that they're meeting a certain criteria. And if you need help in doing that, preventative measures is here to make that walk a little easier so that you can have quality at your business.
Okay, wonderful stuff. Gamal Nuri, let people know how they can find preventative measures really quickly.
Preventative measures is on Facebook. We are on LinkedIn. We are on X. We are on Instagram, preventative measures. You can also reach out to me directly, Gamal Nuri. I'm available at 357-9949.
Okay.
Glad to be of assistance.
Always a great discussion. Thank you so much, sir. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your Easter. Thank you.
Thank you, and you guys have a safe Easter. Enjoy not too much hot cross buns,
Right.
but definitely get that guava duff. I heard that discussion, right? And I was like, what?
Hungry now, right? Hungry now.
Authentic guava duff.
Gamal Nuri, preventative measures. Thanks again. Farrell Goff, thank you for being here.
Always a pleasure, man. Lots of fun.
I'll see you in a few weeks in a different capacity.
Yes, sir.
And then you'll be back next month with us. So have a great one.
Thank you. You too.
Everybody have a great weekend. I'll be back on Monday for more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Everybody have a great day. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green next.
At CFAL, we understand that a secure future is the greatest gift you can give your employees. That's why our tailor-made group pension solutions are designed to fit the needs of both large and small companies. With CFAL, you can provide the retirement you and your employees deserve, ensuring peace of mind and financial stability for years to come. Join the many businesses that have already entrusted CFAL to create the right pension plan for their employees, and let us help you build a brighter future for your team. Visit us at cfal.com to get started on building wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
At RBC, we help make your idea of the perfect house happen so that you can make that house a home. With limited time offers including cashback and fee waivers, now is the time to get started. To learn more and to pre-qualify today, visit rbc.com/mortgage ideas. RBC. Ideas happen here.
You work hard for your money, so let your money work hard for you. With as little to start, you can watch your money grow by investing in CFAL's Bahamian dollar and US dollar mutual funds, each tailored to match your unique investment profile. Our expert advisors are dedicated to crafting personalized investment strategies to help you achieve your financial goals. Don't miss out on the chance to earn higher returns on your hard-earned money. Join the thousands of investors who trust CFAL and start your journey toward financial freedom today. Visit us at cfal.com to learn more about our saving and investment options. And let us help you build wealth so you can live well. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Streaming on GuardianTalkRadio.com and the Guardian Radio app, Nassau, Bahamas.